Okay, good evening, everyone. It is 6:05 on this Thursday, the 15th. I officially call this meeting in order. Let's please rise for the pledge, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm apologize for the frantic nature. I'm doing double duty tonight. We have been down our village clerk since Marie retired at the end of May, and when we moved the meeting from Wednesday to Thursday, we moved it right into their trip, so they are not here, so I am also doing clerk duties. So my apologies. Quick roll call. Mayor Allen is here. Deputy Mayor Ryan?
Here.
Trustee, you're not Deputy Mayor Ryan. I caught you on that. Trustee Alter? Trustee Decker? Trustee O'Malley? Trustee Sauer? Trustee Shuddick? And also present, Attorney Elena Finn. All right, we have first off a public hearing. As we had noticed prior, this is a public hearing. Oh, I'm sure everyone can read that. Regarding, too close, proposed law, local law A 2023. This is a local law establishing a vacant and abandoned building registry. This is a local law that we introduced in May, has been available at the municipal building for purview, and we had this noticed out in the papers. As with any local law we introduce, we have a public hearing, and then it's up to the board as to how we want to proceed. So at this point, do I have anyone who would like to make comments pertaining to a local law establishing a vacant and abandoned building registry in the village of Hoosick Falls?
Rob, who makes that registry? Who does that?
That will fall under, if I'm not correct, the code enforcement, or are you just the enforcer of the registry? Did we define?
You gotta register with the village.
Did we define who that will go through?
Not the procedure, the
Okay.
internal procedures, not usually done through code.
Oh, okay. So then that would basically, we would just come up with some sort of form or way, but that will establish later. So to be determined,
Yeah.
likely through the village office. Sorry, I was trying to pawn yet another chicken regulation on you. Just kidding.
And who can register? The village, like anyone in the community, just.
If you have a vacant building,
If
you have to
own one.
register if you own a vacant building.
If you own one, you register.
Register
The
and-
purpose is trying to eliminate
Right. So you will register it,
abandonment.
and you will pay money to have it. If you're gonna have it vacant, you will pay a registration fee. If you have a building permit out on it, and you're doing work, there will be no fee, and in the law establishes all the rules and regulations.
Awesome.
In other words, this is to get rid of some of the people that just leave buildings to
Sleepers?
rot. Yeah, they just leave them to
Sleep.
rot.
More than that.
In the building, in our downtown business area, it's obviously hurting the property value of everybody in the village.
And attached to that is an escrow requirement for a certain amount of money. I believe it's at the discretion of the inspector, between $1,000 and $5,000. So when you're in a situation like we have on Church Street with a broken window, we draw from that escrow account to pay for the repairs in the event that the owner fails to.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Thank you.
When the law is passed, it will require current vacant building owners to
Yep.
register.
And like I said, if you're doing something, if they're doing work on it actively, you just register. You still gotta register, but you don't have to pay a fee. The whole business,
And should you not
Makes a
register, what happens?
if you don't register,
Right.
how we enforce that? Yeah.
Yeah, there's fines and you can take them to court.
Right.
Gotcha, okay.
But we'll say it in the law. so.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just one from me.
Sure.
Maybe this was answered, maybe you jumped in and answered it via email, whatever, but at the end of this, like some of the other things we're working on, I think this one doesn't mention that the penalties being assessed against your tax collected in this, at the same time, in the same manner as your annual taxes. Should we do it that way? Rather than, because if not, correct me if I'm wrong, but if it's not assessed against the taxes, our only option at that point is to enter civil litigation, right?
So the purpose of having it, assessed against the taxes is if the village is putting forth work and spending money on labor, then you can get it back on taxes. You can't get fines or surcharges. And the way we structured it is that they would pay the escrow, so then there's no need to even do all that because we have the escrow up front.
Okay, awesome.
If they don't do it, then we take it to court.
So how do we go about getting people to register the properties?
So I know when Niskuna did it, what they did is they kind of made a list of properties that were known to be vacant and abandoned and sent notices to those property owners. And there's a whole process, I think Mark Motor's gonna do it, to kind of get the word out there and let them know, give them time to get registered, and then if they don't, then we start the enforcement of it.
So what if somebody owns like a single property and they say, well, I'm gonna show them, I'm gonna move into that property and, live there?
If it's there's the code actually sets forth, or what would be the code that sets forth the circumstances in which you can find vacant and or abandoned. If somebody's living there, then that's right. I'm not saying it's a perfect solution, but it's a solution for hopefully most of them.
There's a couple of them that are already red tagged. I already have a policy that I red tag is uninhabitable, and that's get a building permit, and they have to go through the process of fixing them up to the point where they get a CO before they can use it. So some of them are going to be like that. Not all of them, but there will be some like that. Ones that are worse ones already will fall into that category. Some of the storefronts and things like that, people will live in because they're a storefront. Like 15 Church Street, we know that's not livable. I don't have an actual red tag against it, it's not livable. They have to be inspected and they have to see all that.
They'd have to take a building.
This is the same law that says you have to pay the minimum amount of water and sewer? No?
Yeah, same law.
I don't think it's that.
No, this is different.
Well, in some
That's a
cases,
part of the
in
law.
some cases, people can turn the water and sewer off, they cut it off and not pay anything, and all they're paying is the property taxes.
Well,
But-
they will be paying the minimum water, which is 5,000 gallons.
Deb, I think what you're asking about is a
That's our water.
policy shift that we
Oh, okay.
solidified around the last
Right,
budget
okay.
cycle.
And there is in here
Thank you.
evidence
Yep.
of vacancy. A building shall be deemed vacant if no person is conducting a permitted or allowed use or lawfully resides in any part of the building. So there's some definitions in here.
So for occupancy, Mark, they need water and sewer hooked up to actually live in the building.
Yeah, in most cases it is hooked up, they can turn it off.
No, but I mean, if they cut it off at the curb, like,
If they, as long as the water department's letting us know, then that should be an automatic. That's a vacant property, if the water's just turned off the curb for whatever reason.
or electricity, because I think we had an issue at one place at one time where they're running the electricity across from one house to another, plugging in the,
I don't see it as much anymore as I do when I first started. But then, they used to say.
My old neighborhood used to be like that. I was cheap, my old Chestnut Ridge, New York density.
We go from apartment to apartment sometimes, and some of these farmhouses, they have their own electric in each unit. You can tell somebody's got their power turned off, you see an orange cord hanging outside somewhere.
Did we put a date to start this? Should we?
So let me jump into that for a moment with a little bit of a snafu explanation. When we public noticed this, we noticed this for what we thought was the next board meeting of the 14th. And then we shifted the board meeting because of availability concerns of some of us. I was one of them. My son did graduate 8th grade, by the way. And because the notice was specific to the 14th, it does create a little bit of a concern wiggle room if we acted on it tonight. So it's my request that we look to approve this at the next board meeting, and we can leave the public hearing open. So in case someone says, hey, you noticed it on the 14th, but then you moved the meeting to the 15th, it didn't change the notice, and I say this law is not. So to avoid those possible concerns, I'd like to leave the public hearing open, and then look to move forward on this if that's the board's desire in July, which also will hopefully coincide with the two other proposed local laws we're introducing tonight.
Which it may be good for us before they put a press release out about the
About everything.
package initiative and what we're doing.
Absolutely. That's a great idea.
Yeah, we're doing a campaign here.
Like, we got a problem. But to your question, Bobby, though, it does say within 30 days of being provided with notice of a certificate of abandonment by the building inspector. So, in theory,
What page you on?
I'm on number 2. Just go right up. There you go. Look at number 2 right there. So, at minimum, there's 30 days built in from the moment they get the letter from Mark or the building inspector to register it. So, at least that's the way I read it.
Yeah, that's what it says, 30 days.
And that's and that's not gonna happen, obviously, the day after the law is passed, so there's already.
Yeah, Mark would be more than, Mark, he's going crazy.
And we did that, done that night.
I've been sitting around this kind of for a long time.
Can't even-
Okay, so any other questions, discussion points on this? So I'd like to leave the public hearing open and we'll simply look to close at the next meeting. We had planned to move into executive session, but I think it's the board's desire to just jump to announcements first, if that's all right with everybody? All right, so I'll get to mine first. You guys are here. I want to pass it off to you guys, so please take it away.
You can go first if it's fine.
It's already written down. You go for it.
I am Kane Powers, and I'm also the trustee of the library, the president at this point. So every year we make a community report, so I want to leave this with the board.
Thank you.
And it gives all of our information in here. I wanted to highlight just a few things that have been happening in the last year. In November of 1923, we're going back 100 years, the library started. So we're going to have a celebration on October 21st at the Bite in town. And we're going to sell tickets. It's like $15 a person and $25 a couple. So we're going to celebrate down there on October 21st. The information is in here also. It will also be in the newspapers. We're going to sell tickets at the library or even at the band concerts. We thought would be a good place to get some more participation from the community to come. So that's something in the future. But back in 1923, there were 4,000 books and 400 patrons. 100 years later, fast forward, we have 13,000 books and 2,400 patrons.
Wow.
So it has changed and it will change in the future. It evolves as we go along. It slowed down during the COVID, everything kind of stopped. And then we start to pick back up, but ever so slowly we're picking back up again. So we're still working on that. It's a work in progress. We've had many grants to work on the inside of the building. We've done a children's room and an all-purpose room, and we've done computers. So we've been doing that for years now, a few years, like 5 or 6 years, and been able to get them. The state was giving out a lot of grants, so we took advantage of it. They paid approximately 80% of the cost, which was wonderful for us on a small budget. So it worked out good for our library. We're able to take advantage of that, and we're glad to do it. That helps bring more people into the building and more people bring in more ideas and things they want done, and we're always willing to do that. Actually, we have many in-person programs and also take-home programs. It's all listed on our website. We have 6 computers, a color printer, photocopier, scanner, fax machine, 24/7 Wi-Fi, screen and projector, personal technology assistance, and 2 Chromebooks available to anyone when the library's open. It's always available to the whole community. In the beginning, when we had our Wi-Fi, we just had it open when the library was open. Then what happened, the COVID hit, and we found many people wanting to come to the parking lot. You know, kids had to study and stuff like that, and they didn't have the Wi-Fi at home, so we decided just to leave that Wi-Fi open all the time, and it still is. And we still have people come to our parking lot or someplace around the area and use their computers off the Wi-Fi. So that's another service we provide willingly to the community, which is important because we provide it to them and they help us in the end. So that's how it works as a partnership.
Is there a charge for that color printing?
I think there is a minimal, like 10 cents or 20 cents, just a little bit of money, yeah, not much,
That's pretty reasonable.
yeah, basically. We have 5 little libraries that the school helped build, and they're around in the community, and they're checked, and they're taken care of. And then our celebration's coming in October, so we're looking forward to that. We've had a lot of feedback on that, and it sounds like it's gonna be a great time.
Is your website here?
Yeah,
Is that the one? Great.
can we segue into our, garden?
There's also, by the way,
Please do.
a Facebook page that gets updated sometimes 3-4 times a day, depending upon what programs are going on,
Yeah,
Okay.
with photos of what's happening and the kids
Yeah.
programs and the crafts and
yeah.
so the website, you can get your books through the website. If you have a card,
You can
you
order.
log in here and get your
Right.
books. Otherwise, you can check us out on Facebook.
All the time. We're always available. We have a great librarian, and he's very adept at all this computer stuff, and it's wonderful. Just so easy to ask a question, got the answer. It's nice. Nice for me. So Barbara is going to talk a little bit about our gardens, which is separate from the library. This is the outside business that has been mostly done by volunteers and volunteer money at this point, and we are still a work in progress, and we have like a 2 or 3 year plan to kind of finish up that program. Barbara's gonna give us some more information.
Yeah.
Thanks, Barb.
So any questions for Madam President here?
How is the little libraries placed around town doing?
Good.
Doing good?
In the beginning, there was a problem with a couple doors got broke.
I was gonna ask you, I know there was one door that was broken up by the
We got those
museum.
fixed.
Was
And
ripping
then,
off.
We have
Whoops.
people checking those libraries, and if there's need of any books, they put more in or take some out. So it's been progress.
Good.
It's been happening.
I may have some books to donate.
Yeah, you
Do you
can,
take some?
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
quite a
we
few,
do.
probably. All
We
right.
take all kinds of books if you want.
Maybe
The
borrow lots
library,
of
we'll
books.
take them there.
Huh?
You'll be borrowing lots of books.
Well, I got lots of adult books.
Okay, now,
Wrong
Wait
word.
a minute.
language.
Say that again one more time, Bobby. One more time.
Now would he meant.
This
Not
meeting's
those
being
books.
recorded, Bobby.
Wow.
Not those books.
Don't
On
let
the
your
record.
imagination go back.
My ears,
Just
my
stop it.
ears.
My kid's not gonna read Colin Wild until like.
And let's talk gardening.
Okay, let's start gardening.
All right, so the main reason that I'm here this evening is actually to jingle the cup. I borrowed an extension cord because we are in the middle of an exterior garden project. It's a 3 to 4 year project, and we needed to use some power tools. So I put a request out on the Facebook Here and Now page, and you showed up with your extension cord, and then encouraged us to get our ducks in a row and come to you to discuss the possibility of perhaps being granted some ARPA money. Not in addition to the tax base, which we recognize is how we get our funding to begin with. But that covers all of our normal operating costs, staffing, books, programming, utilities, things of that nature. This project that we're working on is above and beyond that for a few reasons. One of them has to do with the effects of COVID. And the reason that we think that the ARPA fund would be appropriate for us is because we lost programming, we lost the ability to do fundraising. The books, people were hesitant to even check them out because they would have to quarantine them first and then hand them over. So it was a really tricky time. And when we opened up, we had some groups come back, but because of social distancing, all of our programming just dropped down to bare minimum, maybe 5 or 6 kids. But the kids program now, Elizabeth Robinson runs it, and she had 21 people the other day, 14 kids plus the adults. So we are trying to rebuild, but it's slow going. And part of that became a discussion about what the exterior of the building looks like. How can you encourage people to come use the library if the exterior of it is going to weed, right? So we came up with a plan last fall, 3 to 4 year garden plan. This year was all about getting rid of the waste. We've had 13 cubic yards of waste materials removed from the property, for example. Like, it's a big, big project. So the library itself has had a $4,000 maximum dollar garden budget for that. And so we approached the rest of the community, and businesses stepped up from cash donations of grand total of $1,350 to materials. I mean, there's this one person who gave 80 gallons of Pachysandra. We went to her house and dug it up. I mean, that would have been $5 a plant. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah.
so much support. I myself have put in probably over 500 hours at this point, volunteer time. I've taken professional level classes to make sure that I know what I'm advising on here. Part of the problem though is it's not just a garden. We have a hill in the back that is very unstable and unsafe. There's a lot of water running off that hill. Tuffy came and put some pipes in, but 2 trees died, and that was a threat to the neighboring buildings, right? So the $4,000 that we have has gone to all of that. And now what we're doing is the Upper Hudson Library System has a grant program, and we are applying for that grant for year 2. And that is going to include 3 items that they can approve, will approve. They will not approve anything having to do with plants. But nothing to do with plants or gardening. However, the categories that they do consider appropriate are safety, accessibility, sustainability, and programming. And to those ends, we're having a garden, we need a garden shed. I myself am disabled. It's difficult for me to get up and down the stairs regularly, but especially with gardening equipment. And most of the volunteers are maybe 15, 20 years older than I am. So with gardening equipment up and down the stairs, it's not safe. It's not accessible. And we have no room for exterior storage for exterior programming. One of the things we want to do in this garden project is bring people. We already have a guest speaker coming at the end of July to discuss herbs in the garden. And we already have an interior program that has to do, it's called the Spice Club. And so we're trying to grow some simple herbs on the exterior, have that person come and give a guided tour, and then work that into the interior programming as well, right? But we need storage space for the garden stuff and for that sort of external programming stuff. We had a shed once upon a time, it was plywood, it fell apart. We don't want to keep doing a new shed every 5 to 10 years, right? So we want it to be in brick because the building has been standing for 100 years and it is made of brick. So we have a quote on that. Additionally, so that hits all 4, safety, accessibility, sustainability, because it's going to be made of brick, and programming, right? The second item is the lighting. We have 4 taller street lights with the globes on them. They're not working properly. They haven't been for years. They have to be replaced. We had new bollards installed probably 4 to 5 years ago, and they sometimes kind of cut out in certain places. So we have a quote there as well for what lights we could put in with what that electrician's fee would be. And the final thing is 2 security cameras. The electrician that we got our quote from was Shane Hathaway, and he was fantastic because he saved us a lot of money. He said you don't need the big expensive wired kind. You can get the trail cams that are Wi-Fi enabled, and you have the trees in the right spot. And so we have priced all of these things out, and we are going to apply for this. Our deadline is August 1st. However, the Upper Hudson Library System bases what they will grant you on what New York State says your income bracket is, and so the most that they can give us is 75% of the bill, right? So that means we have to come up with the 25%, and that 25% is $8,750. Because the total bill for the brick shed and programming space and 8 new lights and the electrician to set those lights up and 2 trail cams that are Wi-Fi enabled, the grand total for that, what the quotes we've had and the things that we've priced, is $34,000 to $35,000. So at 75% of that, that means the Upper Hudson Library System, because we fall into those categories that they insist we fall into, we stand to get $26,250 from them, which means we will have to come up with $87.50. We're actually hoping that you will give us the full $10,000 because the difference there will go to further stabilization of that hill. Any of the trees, we had a tree get damaged in that last snowstorm. That was an unexpected cost. It broke one of the cherry tree limbs. And so that was an additional cost for the arborist to come on top of everything else we're doing. Any of the plants that could die out this summer because we moved them and we're about to get into the hot season, it gives us a buffer, right? And we're hoping, especially because the Upper Hudson library system doesn't give anything for garden plants, nothing, that buffer would be very useful for us to have. But even if you said, well, you already have a tax base, you already get enough from us, you can have only the difference, then that would still be $87.50, which I'm hoping that you all really want to give us, because we really love you. And that's all I have to say. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
First thing we'll have to do is see if it fits under the allowable spending categories for ARPA.
Okay.
And Elena will help on that, because there are really strict rules on that. Don't know if it'll fall under tourism, maybe. It'll be tricky, because you do
What is
get
it called?
tax
Allowable spending? What?
money. What the rules of ARPA on what you can spend money on.
Right,
Just
but
look
you called
look
it
up ARPA, it'll tell you everything.
allowable spending category?
Sure.
Okay.
Is there a time frame on that, when that is expired, or is that?
No, we got until the 24th, until January 1st next year,
Okay.
to spend what we have
Right,
left.
okay.
But it's just, we have to double check and see if that would fit into the category that we could spend it. It's pretty strict. And if we spend it the wrong way, they're gonna, if they audit it, which they
Then we
probably
get
will.
grounded.
Yeah,
Well, no, we'll have to pay the money back,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
so.
How
I
much
got a
did you start
feeling it
with?
might, but definitely,
How much did you start with on
Borders
that
it.
ARPA?
well, we got
We got
171
171, yeah, 171 twice.
171 twice.
342.
So this, yeah, over a 2-year period. You got your first installment,
Okay.
21?
Yeah, we have it on the agenda, and I'm
Right.
updating
Now,
it.
do you need us to go look up the allowable
No.
spending category?
No.
Through
Okay.
Elena and
We got
us,
the
yeah.
pro over there.
Okay. You look like a pro. Madam Pro.
But I did a lot of work on that, and I still have a lot of paperwork. and-
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, before I
It's tricky.
forget, it's not really forgetting. I just, I see you, and I hurt you. He came with his basket, because you said he could come with his basket, and his cherry picker basket on the top of the,
Oh, the-
right?
yeah.
And the dead trees that we had to cut down, we couldn't cut them all the way down. A, because it was a cost prohibitive, it's too expensive. And B, those root balls are actually helping to manage the water that's rolling off that hill, right? So his guys came and they installed, it's a nuts idea, but every landscaper I've talked to has said that it's a good, yeah, it'll work. We've taken 35-year-old ivy stock, which was donated to us, and we have planted it on the top of these dead
That's
trees.
what those baskets are.
Yeah.
They are filled with those rootstocks that have been dipped heavily in rooting hormone. And the guys dug holes in the dead stumps themselves, leaving space for the roots to
I
go
was wondering
down.
what you were doing with those stumps.
I was
And
so curious as well.
Right.
Rob wanted to grind those stumps.
Well, no.
I know.
These are the tall living two in the back, right?
Okay.
So, and I'll get to that too, because we have had donations of books, for example, that are so damaged that we can't give them away for free. So we mulch them and we put them back in the garden. They're in the garden. We got cardboard, like we
Makes
did
sense.
everything that
We don't
we
waste
can
any.
do.
Makes sense.
They're lucky I know last year.
We are not
Way to do
wasting,
it.
yes, and all the boxes, like everything.
Yeah.
So we planted those in those big giant trees in the parking lot because they're filled with sap. And they're managing that water. That ivy is gonna grow into those trees and it'll be a scaffold for them. And that way we can still manage our water. As to the
Okay.
stumps, again, we thought we were gonna be able to mulch all those. They were too big to mulch and too expensive to have hauled away. So we kinda looked at each other and went, Seats, tables, okay, so now they are decorated.
There
There
we
are
go.
tic-tac-toe tables, there are seats with different book themes, there's a corner for Alice in Wonderland, there's a corner for Winnie the Pooh, there's a corner for Lord of the Rings, everything that we can possibly do to bring people in, to get them to
Those
picnic.
little signs you have look cool too.
Thank you, yeah, those for the
Can you do
kids.
those?
We,
Yeah, I do like those.
I had spare wood, so I cut it up, sanded it, turned it over to the teens. And everybody, there was a mom and a couple kids, we all chose the booklands that we wanted to see out there. So it's like Neverland and Narnia and Terabithia, and then we printed the logos out from those book titles. And the kids came in and sketched them on, did the transfer paper, and then a different set of kids came in and I loaned my pyrography tools, someone else donated one, and they did all the wood burning. And then I went over that and I corrected
That's
the
great.
little things and sealed them, and now you've got a post up there from leftover wood, right?
Yeah.
And it's now, we've had the, if you scroll down there a little bit,
Sure.
there's a, library expedition, so that happens every year. And it's the whole Upper Hudson system. And you get, it's like, you have to go to each library and find this little thing of bears that all the librarians try to hide so you can't find it. And you get your little expedition map stamped.
Oh.
And we've had families rolling through from 4 or 5 different places who have said, oh my God, we have to come back. When do you think the flowers will be up? We'll be back. When? August? Okay, we'll be back. We'll have to come back again.
That's
And
great.
it's trying to get anything that we can do to get the community interest. And so far, it's working.
It's
That's
really
great.
working.
And the water is
It's
also
exciting.
working. Do you know the drain went in, and in the parking lot, you could hear it running 24/7, right? There was always a trickle, right? And that ice was always in Harder Lane, so the pipes took care of the ice, but you could still hear it trickling. Go back there now.
I have a question.
We planted a willow tree, there's no water running
Oh,
anymore.
that thing sucks up all the
Anyway,
water.
sorry.
I
Mm-hmm.
have a question. Does the library still own the Grandma Moses painting that's at the Bennington Museum?
I'm not
No
sure
idea.
about that, I don't think, I don't know that.
I know we have one on loan from someone hanging in the library,
Right, we do.
but I don't know
No, but I
about-
think the library owns a painting. Ever consider, maybe consider selling
Auctioning?
it at some point rather than being at the museum in perpetuity?
Well, maybe.
There you go, that's for the
That's a
next
good
board
suggestion.
meeting,
Yeah, we can
right?
check it
That
out.
wouldn't help your budget, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Kevin will offer 50,000 as the starting bid.
Yeah, bargain there.
Starting-
Bid number 1.
You don't wanna bring it back because of the insurance would kill you.
We will put that on the agenda for the next
I mean, it
meeting.
just seemed like there's no return from the museum to the library. It just sits there.
And we have one on loan from someone at the library already, so I'm not sure, I didn't know that we
That's
owned one.
an
but that's
original.
I didn't know either.
You were gonna do some cooking things, cookbook things too, to connect the herbs and the.
Yep,
books
well, and we have the
everything.
Spice Club, right, and we have, we also wanted to do, which we had to pick and choose, we have a master list of the things that had to be done in year 1 to set us up for,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of 4 years, it's not gonna be a nightmare to maintain anymore.
Wait a minute,
We
the
had
horses
to-
are tied up.
Right, we had to
Right.
build sort of neglect into the future plan. This was about clearing the garbage out, right, and getting the shrubs in places so that they weren't dying in the center and more weeds were coming, right? That was the work of this year, taking care of the dead trees. Next year is the hardscaping. Year 3 is making sure that all the perennials that we planted are healthy, that the shrubs are healthy, so that year 4 you open up and the maintenance is just regular maintenance. You'll have ground cover, you'll have perennials, you'll have shrubs, and you'll have your tree canopy. That's a maintenance schedule that anybody can follow. It doesn't matter how many volunteers you have, but it's gonna take time to get there. And in the meantime, this shed gives us the chance of not only having gardening equipment, but really to get that programming set up outside, to have yoga blocks. We wanted to do yoga classes and, right, there's no storage in the basement. And to have people running up and down the stairs, stuff that's going out in the yard and back and forth, that's just more dirt in the place, more cleaning, you know what I mean? So that's, the security cameras is a big deal. We got hit with vandalism last year. We had some materials stolen early in the spring. So that's important. And the lights, of course, it needs to be safe and accessible. Without the lights all working, that's a problem.
So we have, unless you guys have any other questions,
I just have one question.
go for it.
Can we approve ARPA funds contingent on determination of acceptable expenditure?
Why would you want? Get somebody excited?
I would wait to check.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're pretty certain you're gonna get that grant from the Upper Hudson?
So Danny has written all the grants thus far, what, 5?
Yeah.
5 grants thus far to the Upper Hudson Library System, and has been awarded all 5 of those grants from the
Ooh.
Upper Hudson.
Very good.
100%.
Sweet.
Very good.
100%.
Who's your grant writer?
Danny,
Danny.
Danny, the director of the library, and Danny,
Danny the director,
is
who's
really
Danny's
good
last,
at
what's
it.
Danny's last name?
Just Danny the
Danny
director.
the
Yeto,
director?
Yeto, and Yetto,
And she loves going.
formerly known as Sarah, now Danny.
Okay.
Okay.
So absolutely, 100% on the grants. So, and on top of that, the guy who runs the grant system, we had a meeting and we clarified what kinds of things that he does not, right? What's his name, Tim?
Tim
Yeah.
Burke.
So Tim was like, nothing to do with plans, blah, like he really wants to get us the money. He's guiding us on the right things, and then Danny's
Right.
just acing it and has 5 for 5 right now. So yes, we are very confident. Whether it's 75% coverage or 90% coverage comes down to New York State's determination of where we fall as a community based on overall statistics of income and all of those types of things.
Is that
And
based on the
nobody
village?
knows what that
Is
is.
based on the village or the town?
Village.
So, board, we have this on the agenda if we want to talk about it later in the meeting. We also, it doesn't sound like you're in an immediate hurry to get an answer. If we end up
No.
wanting to discuss this more, speak with Elena, we can have this on the agenda as a decision for the July meeting as well.
And you can also tell us to come back after that, because our deadline to apply for that grant is August.
August 1.
And
yeah.
then we find out, I believe somewhere around December or January,
Takes
whether or
a
not
few
we've been
months.
granted it.
Yeah.
And then the money doesn't roll into us until the following August. So we,
But,
It's a time frame.
my question is, if we were to get this on the July agenda,
Right.
and hypothetically, if we were to grant some of this money, would that help with going and trying to retrieve that grant to say, listen, the village has already provided the funding for the.
I'm not sure because I don't know how Danny writes those grants, but I do know that if it was $10,000, that is what the Bricky, the Mason, is asking for as a hold on the deposit. Now, we're gonna try to negotiate that down instead of a $10,000 down payment to hold him, maybe $8,000 or $5,000, so we have some wiggle room. So that's kind of where we would immediately apply those funds to hold his services and get the materials for next year, for example. And if he negotiated it down with us, then we would be able to go out and get those security cameras, and then when the grant comes back, we would then pay ourselves back. I think that's
Right.
the language that I'm supposed to be using, so.
Correct.
Here you go.
It's a work in progress. It does take time, but you have to start someplace.
Mm.
Well,
Thanks, Barb.
thank you guys very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
We're all impressed with what's going on over there right now, and it's even greater to hear
No,
that
I
you
heard
guys.
something about wanting to grind stumps, and I was like, those fighting words. Who wants to grind?
Who would have thought of that? I don't know.
I saw Kenny
Who.
over there with that thing the other, I didn't wanna say anything.
I was like,
I'm
who
pretty
is
sure-
taking my stumps? The
I had
work
to,
that went into those stumps.
I told Kenny to put the flamethrower away, and it was fine. Nothing to worry about.
Yes, and they're meant to be seats, so they're all
They
buried
sit
in
nice.
now, so that they don't move, and we're adding rebar to them, so they really won't move, so they're seats, so come and have a
Awesome.
picnic.
That's cool.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, okay,
Thank
guys.
you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Looks good over there.
Take care.
Where's
Sure
your
does.
shirt?
Target, next. Years ago, they don't sell them anymore. Anything
Thank
else?
you very much.
Okay,
Thanks for your
bye.
time,
Bye,
guys.
thank you.
Bye. So before we go to an executive session, just to finish off a couple of announcements. First one, the Hoosick Falls Alliance Church is holding a church service in Wood Park on July 23rd, 2023. It will be called Pancakes, Praise, and Prayer. Contact number for questions is on the agenda. Also, and I'll go into this with mayor updates, but I also don't want to forget, we're moving to appoint a new village clerk this evening, and in my infinite wisdom, I forgot to add it to the agenda. So I will add that resolution into the agenda with the board's permission when we get near the end.
Isn't it? You have it on here?
I have it as an update, but I don't
Oh,
have the
okay.
actual resolution
okay,
on the
alright,
update.
right, okay.
And you guys do have the resolution pack. It's there.
Yeah, that's-
So it's in there, and we put it together. I just forgot to do it. So at this point,
Are we gonna do people be heard or no?
we'll go to, if it's all right with you guys, we'll go to executive session, come back, I'll do the updates, and then we'll just move on, people to be heard. And
Okay.
does that work?
Rick, I mean, I didn't know if you're just here to let. Okay, all right.
Well done.
I didn't
well
want to
done.
leave you hanging. That's all.
Another reading at 7:30.
Okay.
All right. So if that's all right, I'm looking for a motion to move into executive session
Motion.
to discuss personnel matters. Who was that?
Okay,
All right. And seconds?
okay, I'll second.
All right. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed or abstentions? All right. We're going to move into executive session at 6:45. We're just going to move over into Kenny's office so you guys can stay and we'll just hang out here. And Kenny is prepared to sing for everyone. All right, I'm going to pause the recording. Resuming the recording, I'm looking for a motion to end executive session.
Motion.
Second.
All right, I'll give it to Dan because I don't know. I have no good reason for it. There you go. All in favor of ending executive session?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed or abstentions? Carries unanimous. Executive session is ended at 7:30. Apologies to Kenny's Steaks. Also, one other thing I forgot to mention in my announcements before I go on to my updates. The wooden chairs that most of you guys are sitting in.
Yes.
We're about to be, and there's one right there over there as well. We're on the chopping block at Hoosick Falls Central School, and I asked if
At the
we
library?
would. No, Hoosick Falls Central. They were going to get rid of them.
Fall Central?
I don't think these were. There are other ones like it because I found out, but
I think I sat in these 50 years ago.
Some of them were from the art room.
possibly.
There was like paint time in it, but like.
Well, they had been backstage. I have some inside information. They had been backstage for almost 2 years. I think they ended up on the auditorium since like COVID, and then they just were there, and they were getting rid of them. So I asked if we could take them, and I asked Kenny to take a look at them before we committed, and he looked at them and said, "These are great. We'll do it." And they've already done some work, and there's one more chair they're going to do. So these wooden chairs plus the brown ones that Doug and next to Kenny are in from last year are chairs. So slowly we're just stealing all of Hoosick Falls Central School
And
stuff.
you got a couple of files too, right?
What's that?
Didn't we get some file cabinets?
Oh, yes, we've gotten a lot of great stuff there. So I'm very appreciative to Hoosick Falls Central.
So we can have more.
So also, if you guys like the chairs, we'll make sure that these are the ones situated back here. I just kind of had them back there so we could try them out today. All right, so my 2 mayor updates. I'm just basically going to read what's already there, but I'm sure you guys have already read it because we were out in executive session. For the past couple of weeks, Village has been without a village clerk, and our former clerk Maria O'Neill retired. I mentioned this earlier. So on the agenda, which I forgot to place on the agenda this evening, that we'll do, is a resolution to appoint the new village clerk. And through our interview process, the board has chosen Clarissa Mango to be the new village clerk for the village of Hoosick Falls, and she will officially start in her role on July 10th. We do also want to extend our huge thanks to Denise McMahon and Judy Vandekar, who have been and will continue to hold down the fort, down a person in the office and keep up on things along with their own duties. Going to have to keep them very caffeinated to keep up with all the stuff they have to cover. And also, we had hired several meetings back. Janet Davendonis is a part-time data entry clerk. She's also filling in when she can. So, a huge thank you to them.
I'd say thank you to Marie. She did a lot, not just being town clerk, but for the community itself. She was involved with St. Patrick's Day.
Since you're still gonna do that.
Right, and Memorial Day, she helped line the parade up.
Yep.
She also was involved with the Toys for Tots the last couple of years.
Yep.
So she did a lot of stuff, not just for the village, but for the community itself. So thank you to Marie. Went to a retirement party, it was very nice.
What's that?
I went to a retirement party, it was very
Awesome.
nice.
Awesome. Good.
I didn't know she had one.
I knew it.
I did.
It was kind of thrown up together pretty late, and then it was through Facebook, I think.
Oh, well, that's why I'm not. That's why I didn't.
I only heard about it very
All right, yeah.
And I went out to lunch with her.
Right.
No.
Can I just say too, publicly that we really had some wonderful candidates apply for this job.
Yes, we did.
That was a really tough decision. I mean, we really did. Got down to the last 4. It was splitting hairs to figure out where to go. So it was tough.
But yeah.
We couldn't have gone wrong anyway.
I'm sorry you had to make those calls, Rob.
Yeah, I know that.
That's why they pay them the
I'm
big
glad,
I,
your shingles were over and I didn't have to make those calls.
Yeah.
That's why you get the big
That's something like that. And my second item is that also on the agenda tonight is a resolution to appoint Tim Culinary as the new chief of police. Tim Culinary is a recently retired detective, among other things, from the Troy Police Department. I know he served in a bunch of different areas in Troy Police. And he's going to be bringing a great deal of experience and a passion to serve the community. So we're excited for that. And
he's of the community.
yes,
From
because he's in the town. He's up in Buskirk. That is in the town of Hoosick,
Yes.
right?
Part of it is.
Where he lives is town Hoosick. Yes, it is. Yeah.
All right. And I want to very, very deeply thank Officer in Charge Alex Onis, who again couldn't be here right now. He may be back later for his police report. He's keeping me abreast of things going on, but he would have been here if we had that Wednesday meeting. He has been serving as the OIC for, and I looked, the past 18 months, a year and a half. I don't think that was, when he stepped in, I don't think that was what he or any of us had envisioned, but that's kind of how things played out, and we are extremely grateful for his leadership and his commitments to the police department and our community to fill in that. It's pretty awesome. People to be heard, for all the people who are still in here, I'm looking to know if anyone would like to share.
I'm good.
Okay, hearing none, I will move on.
You skipped an improvement grant.
Did I? What did
Water improvement grant for Sue.
Yeah, you're fine.
Number 3 on the agenda.
What
Here.
are improvement grants? Over a year, the village is
Right there.
Oh my gosh, I'm operating off of an old. That's why, because I'm operating off 12 minutes. I'm sorry. You're right. The third thing, and I wanted to put this as just further explanation, because I know anytime community members hear bond, understandably they get concerned that we're going to have tons, are going to be taking on debt, and it's going to be hitting them on the pocketbook, and that's not the case. As we've talked about in previous meetings for over a year, the village has worked with Delaware Engineering to pursue multiple avenues of state and federal grant monies for water infrastructure improvements, as you remember from our riveting presentation a few meetings ago. The full scope of this project would, among other things, include water storage improvements, replace older water lines, and be installing new water mains. Most of the requirements for funding for water infrastructure improvements, as we've learned about the grant game, requires things like an engineering report, which we do have completed, and a bond resolution, which is on tonight's agenda. The bond resolution, by definition, by requirement, needs to be for the maximum estimated project cost of all of the improvements, which is $7 million. But by moving forward with the bond resolution, the village is not in any way setting a requirement to definitively take on that much debt, or even necessarily may not even need to do a bond. It just merely sets up the possibility to do so in the future. What we're doing right now is we're kind of putting all of our possible grant applications out there to see if we can qualify for things, and based on the grants we receive, we will be able to decide how much, if all of the project, we will be moving forward on. So that's kind of what's happening this evening. But I want to be very clear, we are not committing to go for a $7 million bond right now. We are merely setting this up and, in fact, pursuing a path that would qualify us for substantial state and federal financial awards to fund these improvements. Now the people to be heard. My apologies. Okay, moving on, reports. I'm going to skip the police report in case Paul does make it back in time. Code enforcement report, Mark.
What's new, Mark?
Mark, just one question I have for you. 57 Center Street, we talked about that. That's across from kitty corner from me, the Galvin's property.
Yeah.
That's red. It's red tape. You said, has he ever come see you get a building permit? Because
He has not, and the only time, I had said for you
Right,
to call me, and you called me.
I
one
called
time.
when you were in North Carolina, and I haven't seen him in a while. He borrowed my lawnmower a couple weeks ago, but
He's got the truck is parked there.
been there
Never
been there 6 months. Hasn't moved. Yeah. I didn't know if he had a permit, because I
have
heard you
not
say
had
that in order to renovate a building, he's got to have a building permit. And he's
out to the new owners.
Yeah, 'cause he is ripping and tearing, because the other thing is, he's got a pile of what he's been pulling out in the driveway behind the truck.
Yeah, I think I did.
So, and I just wondered if he contacted you. I know, and I haven't seen him in a while, so. But if I do, I will call you.
Let me know.
Okay, that's why I want to make sure, that's
No,
all.
yeah, he's one.
Because I know we had that
Most
conversation.
of them will cooperate, and I could reach out to him, the guy down on Lyman Street did, and I've talked to him a couple times now.
He's Elena's neighbor. He's down, he lives in Niskayuna.
What do you do with, 15 Spring Street? It's all, the glass is even broken more now. Doors punched in, kids are in and out of there. It's
You know,
pretty
I
much
just,
dangerous,
it's red tag,
yeah.
I just have not, I don't go down that way. You know,
Well, I don't know what
haven't
you
been down
can
there
do
recently.
anyways. I don't know.
That's one of the ones we're gonna have to look at, it's an abandoned property that, you know. we're
Is
gonna-
that the county in control of it? Or the bank?
No, it's probably bank, most of them are bank, you know, until the county takes them over for taxes.
Yeah, that should be knocked
The
down.
problem
Perfect
is,
world, you know?
the county's going 5 years so far, the law is 3 years, so they go about 5, if that. This one's gotta be coming up on it.
Well, yeah, because I've been with Annie for 4,
And
and it's across the street, so it's gotta be 6. Anyways,
It was, 2017.
he hasn't been there since the flood, so.
2017.
Deb?
Yeah, what are the next steps
And then
for
Doug.
18 John Street? I know you went and inspected.
Where's that?
That's the building, that's the one with the report, that we have the report on.
So, right, so we've done that, I was supposed to look and see, the next step is gonna be board approval of something.
Is that what we're gonna do?
Oh, I think that's the next step, it's gonna have to, but there has to be a board, the board has to approve, moving forward with the demolition.
Do they want, I mean, usually there's a quote or something that's obtained, so we know how much it's gonna cost, even though we're gonna put it on the tax.
Oh, I can get a quote.
We can get a quote and then the board can vote.
Okay.
I'm gonna fight you for that one, Kenny. I wanna take that car and just push it over the cliff.
The different quotes, do you want me to get another quote for the window or not, or just?
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah,
was,
the quality glass, they said they didn't want to come out, oh, in Hoosick Falls unless they said send the dimensions which you gave us and a picture and they give a quote.
What was the quote from CL White?
1200.
12, yeah, I think it was like 12, I remember seeing that.
You have to do it in 2 sections.
2 pieces, right, 'cause it's so big, right?
Yeah, and something about being safety glass and stuff.
So, to go back to Daniel, so the next step is you're gonna get, a quote to have it
Yeah,
demolished?
if that's the next step, yeah, so.
How do we know?
And that's
what
what,
the
and
next step
it
is?
just,
Do we need to?
how do we know that's, do we tell you that that's what we want you to do, or how's that proceed?
Well,
That's, I mean, whenever I've been in other jurisdictions, usually that's.
Do we have to do like a resolution or something, or we just say, okay, Mark, we'll do it?
I don't think you need a resolution.
We-
because you're
Based
gonna
on
be
that
putting it on the
engineering
tax.
study, couldn't you just make a
at the very
motion?
least, you have to make a motion and, okay.
Yeah, you can do a motion, but I don't think you need a resolution.
Can we do
I
it?
will look into what Andy had us walk through in the past on this. Knowing how Andy would have been, it would have been a resolution that cited specifically the law that would allow us to do this or whatever procedures. But I feel like once we got the report, I think, let me do a little bit of digging.
He's not gonna, I think the village has to plan on tearing it down.
I agree.
Yeah, you got it.
You know,
Oh, we had to advertise for bids for demolition services.
But yeah, that has to be, I would think the board has to, you gotta at least have a motion to move forward with that, to get that.
Okay.
So authorizing me to go ahead and get the bids to move forward with demolition.
I make the motion.
Is that the right approach?
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I'm all in on
Okay. You guys went too fast. I wasn't ready.
We had thirds.
Yeah, we have like 8s and 9s. I know. Okay. After.
That was a story. That's a different one. So I did find multiple spots where the foundation is collapsing and that, so. But then, you know, we got the complaint of the birds flying in and out, and one of the bird holes, the bird had made a nest with, it looked like it must have been like blue tarp material, you know, some type of string.
the shred.
Yeah, so it's like string. The bird was physically hanging out of its hole, dead.
Buy the string.
I'm assuming it was probably the tarp that's covering the car.
It's pretty amazing that house has turned into whatever it is.
So
It's turned into
basically
a
he's
huge
a
birdhouse.
It is.
It's got
It is. I
holes
was
on
actually
both
able to
sides.
We better hurry up, or DEC is going to come in and be like, no, too much wildlife.
Protected.
Motion was made by Trustee Alter and seconded by Bobby Decker. Okay. To what was the motion?
Go out to bid for
So
demolition
for Mark
services
to get
on
a- yeah.
John Street.
Okay.
And you put out the
Um,
bids, or you just,
Put out for bids. To put out to bid demolition of the building, right? Okay.
It's gonna,
18 John Street. And I'm assuming this is due to the we should let the records, specify based on. All right. Okay.
and the fact no work's been done in that place since the last time the report was issued.
Reports
So-
and the lack
Now
of
that
work
I made that
since the
motion-
previous report. Further discussion before we vote on it.
Mark would get the bids.
We got to vote on it, but
So
yes.
then we would say, okay, well, this guy's the cheapest, so in July, we could have that started being torn down, right?
In July, we would approve the bid, and then it's just up to that individual, and
So by August,
could be.
As long as they can do it that quick.
Yeah. And we have to front the money as a
You have to have
village.
money to do it.
This will be,
money for the,
Demolition.
Hey,
the village will be the one to pay the bill, and in which case we will then reach out to Daniels and require him to pay, and if by chance, assuming that he doesn't pay, I think it follows the path to the county like it did in the past.
yeah, we would have put against his taxes
and how, what,
and county reimburses those.
So
Yep.
is that, I'm sorry,
go ahead,
is that building still full of stuff?
Yes.
yes.
We
So
barely
really
walked
old-
through it.
Yeah.
Really, I know somebody who's willing to look through that stuff and perhaps buy something.
I do not know how personal property.
I don't know how it works either, but I know that there's stuff in there that somebody's worth,
The last time,
another
well,
professional would like to look
well,
at.
so I will tell you that the last time I think the building is so full on that first floor because of the other building we tore down, he moved stuff into this building. So now,
That's what he does, and he's got a stuff
Yeah.
to look
and
at.
he's got stuff in the other building.
car stored in.
But typically, when you sign an agreement with the demo company, they take the spoils of the property. They take anything that's left.
And further, since we're moving forward as an unsafe structure, I want nothing to do with
Yeah, we
having
don't want
people
people-
go
I'm
in.
just saying, if
Yeah.
there's stuff inside,
Let the demo company deal with it, in my
Yep.
opinion.
Yep.
Don't.
Did you ever get bids from Landmark Demolition, Trademark? They're pretty local.
They are very local.
We've used them a couple times before. anyway.
Plus, we have the people we used for the Woodsbrook.
Well, Dan's
Dan's
we
Hall,
started with
right?
Dan's on Elm Street, American House.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan's came through on the other,
Get to Wall Street too, right?
Dan's bid most of that stuff, and they were the cheapest, and we worked with them, and they've been really good. The trademark, he bid on the New Hampshire house that one time, as far as I know, that's the only time he did.
who you asked Pat to come.
Yeah, we end up not going forward with that.
Will I ask that, Curtis?
Yeah.
I can ask him.
I don't know if that's his type of job.
Yeah, I don't think he's Bobby, I don't think it's probably because he's gotta get rid of the stuff in the way, I mean, depending what's inside the building.
Right.
and all the asbestos.
It'll be in
Yeah. I'm assuming that they're just going to operate as though it's containing asbestos and have to, and that will require
I'm sure
additional.
that roof has got asbestos.
Yeah.
And there's not, getting rid of the car is another whole,
It's on a
altogether.
different lot.
I know it's on a different lot, but.
That's also a local law that's coming forward.
It just so happens, local laws tonight,
Yep.
we are proffering to the public a junk car law, which hopefully will be resolved right around the same time. And I happen to know a guy named Phil will come haul it away.
But before we do that, we still have a motion on the table we have to vote on.
Right.
Any other discussion?
Nope.
Yeah, Mark,
But I did this.
on that?
Yes.
On the motion,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? No, you cannot vote twice. All right. Thank you. So moved. Kevin.
Thanks, Mark, for some of the stuff you've done. I said a lot of properties have been mowed and taken care of, especially Cary and Church Street and a few others. And also I've seen some cars starting to disappear. So it's
Working on
on
it.
8th Street, or Church Street, I saw that the dam was gone for, it's been there for 20 years.
You know, sad thing is I wrote the violation on Church Street, on Tipple.
He died.
He died like 3 days after I sent
Who
the
was
violation.
Where is
Well,
that?
look at that, Mark.
Tipple.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right, he's been sick for a long
I
time.
think
Meeting got
The
dark.
easy way out.
I just
Alright.
felt bad.
Well,
I saw something, and it's like, I don't know. And so I went and looked at his obituary, yeah, it was like within days of sending him the violation, and he passed away.
Would you have a heart attack from the reading the violation?
Oh wow, we're getting even darker. All right.
Mark,
Oh, wait,
I'll take a
the other thing is, down next to the old Back Street Saloon or Brass Rail, there's a camper there, and there was a lead cord going from there to another property.
His next door neighbor, yeah.
And there was a big pile, looks like somebody's been living there, because there's piles of water.
I've been trying to determine if somebody's living there. I saw the lead cord the other day, it was not plugged in, but yeah, the fact that it's there.
I don't know who owns it.
Is it
Of
going
course,
to
I gotta think it's,
Mrs. Harrington just died,
She
so.
passed away.
oh, did she? I
Yes,
didn't know that.
yes.
She wrote her ticket.
So that. So that house is vacant?
Yes, it
And I didn't
is.
know, I mean, in prior times, I would have thought Greg Zora was living there, but I don't know that, so. You know, that building sold at the county with the guy that bought it, trying to get it back. I think he may have, he paid the fine. I think it was gonna cost him like $9,000, because he didn't want it, he bid on their own, but.
Actually, some girl was on Facebook asking people, and she knew the owner, the person that bought it, and what the building could be used for. And I told her about the building, and I never heard back from her again.
No, we got more information, I never saw it.
How about, I know Kevin had mentioned it before, but when you turn on the Waterworks Road, Cary Avenue, the house with the bulldozer, the tractor trailer, the unregistered vehicles all over the place.
Are they unread?
I mean, well, there's grass growing, you can barely see some of them.
Same as Railroad Ave/Lyman, right next to me up on the hill. It's got the backhoe, the bowl, cars.
Yes.
You can't find them, right?
Which property did you bring up?
Right here in the corner.
She's,
I don't know what the address is.
And then look at Avalon's place, you might wanna, I don't know if it's the same thing, but you might want an unsafe structure, do not enter, cause there's so much broken glass, 15 Spring. Avalon's,
Oh, I just.
you red tagged it, I didn't know if you thought it maybe should have. Is that the difference between unsafe, do not enter?
Rob, one more thing,
Same.
not related to Mark, but we conveyed a piece of property on Mechanic Street to an individual from the town. Did we have any stipulations in that he actually had to do something with it in a reasonable period of time?
Yeah, we
Which-
sold it to him.
Which
I know we
prop?
sold it to him.
50.
Oh, I remember.
It's
I
next door to
remember
my
this
mom's house.
individual.
Yeah, I know
Oh,
exactly where it is.
87?
Well, it's 50, my mom's is 54, so it's either 58 or 56 mechanic.
I had not heard from him, I don't know what's going on there.
Well, I
He
don't- I
he
don't
didn't mow
think-
the lawn for a while, but now the lawn is mowed because I was over to my sister's. And
I know what
it's
you're
mowed now.
speaking of.
Yeah.
I thought we maybe put some stipulations.
I thought we gave him X number of amount of time, but then COVID hit and
No, that was all after.
Kevin, can you shoot me an email to follow up on that, and I'll go through.
yeah, well,
Because that would have been with Andy, and he was good about getting us to do stipulations on things.
I should have something to file on
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because he hasn't been over there other than to mow the lawn.
It doesn't look any different than it did when we sold it to him.
No, because you
it. We
can
did some
see
work on the roof.
yeah, the foundation's the biggest issue, right? I mean, you can see
Oh, it was.
inside the building from outside, looking at the
He
foundation.
may have come to a good realization that it was, you could do.
What's the status of Church Street over there? They actually, the 6 unit or whatever that Brooklyn was the 167.
Oh, the Doc Rayner's old place.
Across from you, son.
Supposed to be, is that work underway?
they're working on it.
Yeah, actually, if I get some time, I gotta stop in there and do a follow-up inspection. They've done it, they've made a repair to the roof, they told me it is watertight now.
Looks like they're replacing windows too.
They're replacing windows, I saw them sanding the floor upstairs the other day, and I'm trying to find
Yeah, they're working on
it. Looks like they were running a power sander on the floor, so.
John's working on that, right, Coney? one.
No, they're talking 114.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
Oh, 114, yeah, that's,
I'm
I couldn't
sorry.
think of the number. What did I say, 167?
Yeah, and John, that one you're talking about, Bob, is on Main Street.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, right.
I gave the okay on 3 of those apartments. Beautiful, beautiful apartments.
Great.
They're gonna get top dollar for them. You know, everything's modern. John Clean did a great job in there.
I was gonna say, cause he replaced every
Yes.
window in that building, yeah.
Every
Yes.
piece of glass, there was over 250 pieces of glass.
Oh my gosh.
That they replaced.
He's
That place is beautiful
he's
inside
awesome.
anyway. It was beautiful before that.
Okay, again for ours, huh?
Which one are we talking about?
Main Street.
The one next to the Legion.
Ours.
Up by the American Legion.
Oh,
Used
yeah.
to be,
Step back.
I need to
used to be
talk.
the wedding tree, Gressmeyer.
That's right.
Cause you said if one tenant lets you in, you're allowed or no?
Yeah, if somebody invites me in, I can go. Nobody responded to the letters.
And then the other thing is, just one, I hate to keep bugging you, Mark, but about the one you have, you're saying, active village court cases, 59 classic.
That's what I get.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear Bobby.
I'll get that done.
So how do we let
They're
some,
Bobby's got a contact, I think, that's living in the building.
oh, yeah.
Adam Target, he's a brother, he's a little brother.
Yeah.
If somebody invites me in, so I get in the building and start doing some inspections, you know, I don't know
He's
why.
pissed, yes, and I'll talk to him, I'll probably call him tonight, he just gave me some
Well,
knowledge.
we already know that, the front porch is a problem, but I can write all the violations against the building I want to, the guy's not responding to anything.
Right.
So I don't know, so he's an active landlord, there's already a warrant out for him for failure to appear. It's a bench warrant, you know, so we're gonna have to figure out how I can take it to the next level.
And the other issue is, it's an active drug house. I mean, the person they tased on Main Street went in the post office Saturday came from that house.
So that is another, the police department has no communication, I have no idea on, you know.
I was told that by
I
John.
find out after the fact, you know, if we could somehow work together, I think Troy works together with the code and the police as far as on some of these places. When they go to the 33rd Street or 36th Street, whatever that is, I never know they go there, you know, I mean, if we work together, and to have that, you know,
The point system,
yeah, that doesn't seem.
because that's what was brought up, that's what
They don't seem to-
Officer Hudson said to me. He said, you know, the point system, it worked, he said, but we haven't been doing it again, been actively doing it.
But we also talked about the paperwork that it would generate, the tracking and the documenting and all that stuff. That's a lot of
We're
work.
only talking maybe 1 or 2 places at a time, you know.
I mean, you're okay with it.
The whole idea, you know, whether anybody wants to admit or not, you're targeting certain houses where there's issues.
Right.
So, and that's usually only 1 or 2.
The cops are there once a day whether they need to or not, and they'd be the first ones to tell you.
But they have to write, the way I read the law, they have to write violations.
Okay.
You know, if they're not writing violations, because the points are based off violations or misdemeanors or felonies. So they need to be writing paperwork, on these places, or, you know.
The
Well, we
other
got a
Okay.
new police chief. who can
Well,
do
we'll,
that.
I'll follow up with that.
You also need some central record keeping component, right? I mean, because otherwise, how do you, if I'm a part-time police officer and I write, how do I know that you were, like,
Well,
how do you
it
adapt
is a
to it?
police department function because it's mostly police department generating points.
Okay.
All right, there may be one or two items in that whole law that's code related, you know, so, and the other thing where it's a continual thing is you write something today, all right, and it's 3 points, 6 months from now, those 3 points drop off. It's only a 6-month period, is my understanding of the way the law.
And what's the goal?
Wait,
What?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, now how many points is put you in?
Oh, I have to go back.
I think
Okay.
I think it's 15.
Okay. That wouldn't take long.
Sounds to be correct.
The sad thing about everything is that a person that just moved back to Hoosick Falls from Ohio, his childhood home, sold the house because he couldn't stand what was going on in the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and part of it is I stopped pursuing it because they were doing the eviction. Our understanding of the
Well,
eviction was.
I'm not blaming you on that.
No,
But
we were working.
my understanding of the eviction was she was gonna be out in June. Now all of a sudden she's saying they're not leaving, and then I find out from the court that they couldn't really enforce the eviction because rent was being paid, but it wasn't being paid to the owner.
Wasn't being paid to the
somebody
landlord.
else.
It was a previous landlord, right?
A previous property manager who told me he owned it, but never produced the paperwork. I kept asking him, I need to see the paperwork that shows you own it.
So now is the money coming from section 8 to that property?
Section
So
8 to that property.
how can they give money to a property that's not even up to code? I mean, don't they do inspections from the housing authority?
CPS, when I called them, because there's kids involved, so they didn't call CPS on it.
I know you did.
Didn't want to hear from me.
Then you say that the girl said, what do you want me to do, right?
Yeah.
That was her response.
Yeah, you know, and it's obvious they do not want to deal with it. She's not a pleasant person to deal with.
Oh, everybody knows that.
And the police have called CPS on that same property as well, and got the same response that you did.
So it's not.
We're
a
starting
situation
to,
that cannot- it
We're
cannot-
starting to get into some things that probably aren't necessarily a public meeting style thing, and or police type things, and there's
It's
no
just-
police officer to throw things at us
It's
to
just
stop.
terrible that a person, a really good guy, who grew up in Hoosick Falls, moved away, came back, and he was forced out of his childhood home because of blight and rudeness and whatever else you wanna call it. It's just disheartening to see that happen.
It is,
It is.
and we
Well,
have
we're working on the blight thing.
we
I
have
know,
felt-
but that's what it really is.
The worst thing is Mark did his due diligence and did everything he had to do to get it into court,
and
got to
taken care
court.
of, and other issues came up.
And then, well, it's,
Similar to a lot of the other things that we've talked about, we tried to get other agencies involved and it just didn't
so
work.
now we're
But-
back at square one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've talked through about 100 of the 900 or so structures in the village. Any more we want to ask Mark about? I'm just
Should I just make up an address just for curiosity?
I will follow up on I did have a recent chicken coop complaint because of the odor. That should be, I'm going to do a follow-up inspection.
thank you.
Would that be near and dear to me?
How about Porky the pig?
Pigs? I didn't see any flying pigs.
3 houses from me, I can show you one.
Unless
That's an ant, that's a pet.
How about the bears? All over the village.
well, that's another thing we're gonna have you take care of is all the bears too, along with the chickens.
He can hire me.
Tigers and bears.
Any other questions for Mark? Otherwise, I'll take a motion to approve the code enforcement report.
Motion.
Motion, Bill.
All right, Ryan and Decker, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Passed unanimously. Thank you, Mark. Treasurer's report, you guys have it. Any questions or things you want to highlight? Bobby, anything? Decker, anything you want to highlight?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
All right. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? All right, carries. Decker, O'Malley. All right, clerk report. Anything you guys want to highlight or mention or ask about? Which really is the deputy clerk report this time around. Thank you, Judy. Looking for a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you, Bobby and Deb. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Carries. Highway report. Anything you guys want to ask?
I have a question. What's the status on the sidewalks that weren't finished last year?
You cut me off the path.
So, just Pat's trying to finish up a bunch of stuff before he gets to it. I was hoping to get it done before Memorial Day, because it kind of looks crappy, but, you know, threw some cold patch in and made it look the best I could.
I just wondered if it was still on the radar.
Yeah.
Is it?
Some other spots,
I'm sorry. Is this the one by the culvert that
Yes,
ruptured?
there's a section between
Oh, okay, okay.
Eddie Place,
Okay.
Estabrook, I'm sorry, Eddie Place and Estabrook, right?
something to
Okay.
consider is one really bad spot in Main Street you're walking is in front of the old ice cream cafe that Barry Laporte owns. That I think ought to be considered for, if we do that one, that section, and the properties in front of Laporte's and Ryan's, that would complete that whole side of the street.
As far as I know, the homeowner has to, it's a 50-50 deal. The homeowner has to pay for half, the village pays for the concrete, we rip it up, the whole, it's the property owner.
I don't think that's been the case on.
That's how we've been doing it for,
Yeah, that's how it's.
Not with these.
But
No.
with the,
No,
Not with these.
No, that's CHIPS money. Some of the CHIPS money has gone towards those,
Okay.
last year, the larger sections that we did
I didn't know.
were, those were the village used our money for. The ones that we did, that Pat did, like from in front of the
Miller
Museum?
The Miller Museum, right from the corner there up, that was through, the village paid for that.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Just because of the sheer volume of traffic.
Right.
The importance of that stretch.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's not up to me, we don't do sidewalks.
By the town wall, is that section bad too?
That section's not bad, no, but between the
Right
town
before that.
section and back to,
Okay. Just so you guys are
Barton
aware,
Avenue.
we're, the town's gonna be redoing the courts.
Oh, nice.
Complete.
Awesome, Joe contacted me.
you put some pickleball courts in there.
Right, we're gonna put- yeah.
And a water slide.
Oh, we're gonna be grinding and repaving the whole thing.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you're putting the water slide too?
And I talked Dave, about, just redoing that wall, the missing stones and stuff
Oh,
on the
nice.
wall.
We'll be back to tennis courts and basketball courts?
All that will be redone.
And the, key bank folks just painted the playground.
Yep.
It was really
Yeah.
nice.
Kenny,
The kids appreciate having fresh
the excavator.
stuff to paint their
What's-
grass.
did we ever,
Graffiti does show up at it.
So,
did we find out about the excavator? I wanna find out if we can sell the excavator.
Yeah,
I put you on that.
what do you want me to find out?
No, I remember I gave you the paperwork, or Denise gave you the paperwork.
About the excavator, because we weren't sure, Bobby, how, if we could
We could
sell it.
Yeah, Denise never got back the answer.
I'm trying to, I think she may have punted to me and I can't remember.
Either way, I'm on it.
Okay,
Yeah,
we
I'm on it, but
I just wanted to bring it up
I never
again.
got to that.
We purchased it during the flood, and we purchased it for the purpose of
Intention of
knocking
knocking
down the
those houses
buildings.
down in Woodsboro.
And we should have never purchased it because we should have known that we can't knock the buildings down because of the asbestos. So it was just,
It's gonna go a long way to
whatever.
cover.
Oh. So
Right, Bob.
we don't need it. We don't need it. It's sitting in the pole barn. It's sat in the pole barn for 2 years.
So if we can sell it, we should.
Yeah, if we can sell it, it'll buy me a new truck. And that's what-
Probably
I'm pretty
closer to
confident that we looked into that and we confirmed it was not purchased with Woodsbrook money.
Right, I think we can sell it, but I'll definitely have an answer.
I'd like to.
We'll have to-
mean,
I don't
it's-
think it was.
you know,
I don't think it was. I think we confirmed that, but we'll have to.
Because I did-
Even if it was purchased with Woodsbrook money, we still at some point have to be able to get rid of it.
Right, but I
Are we
wasn't
stuck
sure
with
if it was
forever?
5 or 10 years.
Right.
Oh,
It
okay.
was either 5
Originally,
or
we
10
thought
years.
maybe a year and a half, but.
Right. The only concern with Woodsbrook money is there were very specific things in the contract we signed with the state for the Woodsbrook buyout program that would limit what we could do with certain things. But again, I don't think that was through the Woodsbrook. I think that was a way of saving money in the plan so that we could take down larger or more properties.
That
But
was
we ended up not needing
2018.
to.
So we put, it was 2017 happened,
Yeah.
but
So I looked into it and, you know, I'm not exactly sure, you know, who was paying what, but, I mean, that excavator, and I'm not even sure what year it is, but, you know, you were looking from like anywhere from like 90 to 120,000 for that. Doesn't have that many hours on it, you know. So, I mean, that would go a long way towards a new dump truck.
right.
I'll,
Okay.
And I've got a dump truck out here and it's all, I can show you some chunks of it that are falling out. You guys would like to see it.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I'll get back to you guys Tuesday.
All right, great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks for Memorial Day, the village looked great.
Yeah, great job you've been doing.
We,
All
yeah.
around, and people are just talking about it all over the place.
We've been hustling. I'm down to 3 guys these last couple of weeks. It's Charlie and guards.
Oh, okay.
So we've been hustling. But yeah, thank you. We thought it looked good too. We're active.
And when are the summer help? That's the one that I wanted to ask you
We
about.
had missed that. I mean, yeah, we had it on the radar, and between losing the clerk and not finding it in the folder, we just didn't have it on our radar for this meeting. We did get a 4th application, so we have to kind of go back to the drawing board and see, do we want to hire 4? If we do that, are we going to have to limit hours or weeks or something like that? So we have to have some discussion, and maybe we'll have a quick special meeting,
Yeah.
just get quorum and do
Because I
that.
think we need to get them
'Cause
soon as school gets out anyway. You
Yeah.
can't do anything until
I
school
mean,
gets out.
let school.
Graduation
High
is
school.
next week. Some of the high school students may be
Right.
free of exams in a couple days, so.
Because I know that CME Fowler's only work X number of hours too. And Chrissy told me she talked to you about that.
So I.
What?
Yeah.
Chrissy Fowler?
She didn't talk to me about.
Oh, she talked to Kenny, I'm sorry.
Oh wait, good.
Chrissy
Ooh,
Fowler
okay.
talked to you about.
Yes.
Right.
So we may just normally we just say, yeah, that's great. We'll hire these few people. Maybe we're specific about max hours or max days or max weeks to make it.
I mean, I have a concern. It's not for here.
You
Okay, well,
yeah, we'll talk.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
That doesn't have to be done in a meeting,
No, that does have to be,
We gotta appoint him, Bobby, for.
but we wouldn't,
Next
we
meeting will
wouldn't
be in
just,
July.
no, we would have a special meeting like next week. As long as we get a quorum for it, notice it, and we can do that, yeah.
Perfect.
Any other questions for Kenny?
Motion.
Second.
All right, motion
Yay.
and second, all in favor to approve the report?
Aye.
Second, or opposed or abstentions? Sorry. That was Decker. I'm so hard to do both at once. All right, sewer report. Kenny.
Motion?
Anything you guys? Oh, we need an actual motion from a trustee.
I'll give him
All right.
Did, I forgot Mike, is that the guy that works in the sewer department?
Keith.
Did Keith passes,
He hasn't taken his test yet. He's passed his class.
okay.
Yeah, he's all done with his class.
His third.
Yes.
The third of three, and now it's
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, now it's
Awesome.
scheduled.
And I know in the report, Flores is still coming, being there and doing his thing. That's great, fantastic. Yeah.
Motion to approve the sewer department.
All right.
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Carries, and the water report.
I got stuff. Well, I'll do a lot of this in my committee. Let's start with good news. We had the water system field compliance inspection. No critical violations reported.
Woo!
We've got a couple significants, and that's, as you probably already know, the Rogers Ave finished water storage tank
That's
still has significant issues. It's leaking even more. Do I need to go any farther? We're pretty aware of that. Overflow of the GAC backwash is not properly protected by screen or equivalent. That'll come up later with the pump.
okay.
We had a minor level of deficiency, and there are many areas along Rogers Ave fence that have brush and trees too close to the fence to ensure integrity of the fence. At the Rensselaer tank, there are also trees and shrubs too close to the fence to ensure integrity of the fence. Also, the Rensselaer tank, the neighbor's sump pump empties into the fenced area, not far from the footing of the tank. Jimmy and Josh were looking into that. They already knew about it, and I think they're trying to figure that out.
Yeah, it's
And
just
they
time
don't-
to see him.
Yeah, it really.
Is that new?
They haven't figured it. It's been,
It's been a while.
yeah, but I don't think they know what to do.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think there's a good solution to this.
They
Unless
can't
they-
get it out to the street.
Get it out to the ditch line.
Yeah. And
You
it
know.
That's
would
interesting.
involve some
This is
work.
like this is an annual inspection. Typically, we get, we know about the tank up on Rogers Ave, and fencing almost always comes up.
So I think that every year it's a different inspector that comes out.
Probably.
Ah,
So, I mean,
okay.
So some inspectors let some things go, and some inspectors let other things go, so, you know,
Yeah,
so.
well, the inspector did say the water system, meaning the guys, should be commended for correcting the minor issues from the previous inspection, so they're
Boom.
working.
Good.
The Tomasino thing, it seemed like it's a tough idea what to do, right?
Yeah.
It is gonna involve a little work of digging, but doesn't it involve gravity, pretty much?
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, not necessarily, I mean, you got some pump, it's a pump, so you can pump it uphill and then it'll run back down.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I
you
think
can
there's,
pump it
a
out.
state law or state code that says you can't intentionally discharge water to adjoining property.
Right, I mean, and I don't know if the hose actually runs through the fence or if it just dumps out in their yard and it runs down into the pump station, I don't know.
But our guys are on it.
But yeah, they're on it, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
And I'm gonna bring this up before I do the other stuff in my committee reports. Kevin, we have been talking about water for the community gardens. There's no real good answer. We do have a fitting, and we do have a hose. To put a valve with a lock on it, means the hydrant's always on, so I don't feel comfortable with that, neither does Kenny. We talked about, okay, so during a shift, during the day, if Sarah, or whoever's over there says, hey, Bobby, Jim, can we get the water turned on for 2 hours? Jim will run right over there and turn it on. But we can't leave the hydrant on for obvious reasons. We also talked about if there was a way that Josh said, maybe they could find an old 500-gallon tank somewhere, this or that. Don't know, it doesn't seem as easy as it sounded,
So
but I think an easy solution, and you're probably gonna come up with a good one. If they need water, we'll set it up. Jimmy, drive by there, simple. It's got a nice little adapter, boom. Run over there, turn it on for him. Hour, 2 hours, you know. But you can't put a lock on a valve, a ball valve or something. Somebody will break that and somebody's gonna be running, run us dry or in a drought, any problem to them. But Jim said no problem on that. So I think that's an easy solution, and you might have the water tank
I got a water tank down in the pole barn, 500 gallon water tank.
It's not being used for anything, Kenny?
I used it last year to fill my hot tub. Yeah,
No, you didn't.
no, I didn't, never mind, yeah, you're right, I didn't. No, it's just sitting outside.
So we got solution right there. We had two solutions.
What do they call it?
that
It's
worked.
I got a
it's the
nice
plastic
little
tank
stick
Yeah.
with the
on
metal
top of
I know
around.
what you're talking, yeah.
Yeah.
And next year, so it's
So-
not the barnyard, let's find them some decent fence. Cause it really looks like Jed Clanton's barnyard.
Yeah, but that's the way they wanted it. That's the way Sarah, that's the way Sarah wanted it.
What we can,
Sarah doesn't run Hoosick Falls.
No,
what
it's
we
not,
can do
it's not
with
our.
that tank is we can set it up over there, and then we can check it, say, once a week, and go over and fill it for them,
Yeah,
you know, and then they could draw off that tank, instead of, you know, having to run over all the time and turn it on and
Perfect.
off.
which brings me to the last thing. Jim wanted the board to know that Kenny and Bruce were awesome for the help on the flushing of the hydrants. He really wanted the board to know that, and that's awesome. Kenny, as usual, I expected nothing less from you.
Stupid question, Kenny, regarding
There
that.
is no stupid.
The water that comes out of those hydrants,
Mhm.
is that sitting there all the time?
The first shot does, so depending on how, you know, say the hydrant goes into the ground 10 feet. So that water is just kind of stagnant, sitting at the top,
Mhm.
so when you open that up and you see this
Yeah,
around.
right, the color, it was the color of your shirt the other day, I
Right.
saw them coming out, that's all I was asking.
Sediment,
Yeah.
sediment, yeah.
Normal.
said there
It's
was
buildup.
some-
That's how it
Yeah,
works.
You wanna see it? I got it.
No, I do not want to see. That's
You
good.
do. This is awesome.
So I'll make a motion to approve the water.
All right.
Second.
Further discussion. That was Decker Ryan. All in favor?
Aye.
Approving the report. Opposed or abstentions? All right. It is on. So I don't have the minutes from. Do we have the minutes from the
This
previous
baby
meeting?
shot out of a
I don't think
hydrant.
we do. So
Sedimentary, man, there's a fossil in there.
wow. Oh, I thought you were gonna bring in like water in a glass.
No, no.
Now I'm kicking myself.
That came out of a hydrant.
Yeah, that's a mixture of.
Teflon.
Like Teflon.
That would screw up a fire engine pump.
Was that kryptonite?
No, it shot out of the hydrant on Mechanic Street. I'm like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, pass that around this way.
No, do you know what I think this is?
It's metal. It's from the cast iron pipe. It's calcification. It's it's the water. It's just
Yep.
You know, it looks like a coal bunker. When you get like coal that fuses when it gets really hot. You used to fly off the trains and stuff years ago.
I mean, that had to be made in less than a year. Because
getting for flush hydrants last year.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
interesting stuff.
All right, so we will have the minutes prepared for you guys to review and on the agenda from the May meeting, and we'll have both those and these and the special meeting quick ones. Wow, that is wild. Ready on the next meeting. All right, trustee committee reports. I'm going to start with Doug on the far side and work our way down.
I'm gonna talk about the New York Forward Grant. The application is in RFP's not out yet, but we're preparing for it. We had a meeting, and Deb and I met with the project leads of the past one. We reviewed the 3 successful grants in the region and compared it to ours, particularly financially. Took some tricks from that.
Nice.
And including we need to have something formally as an economic development agency, which I think Hoosick Rising may brand over. We don't have an economic development agency partner per se. The others did, as well as 2 out of 3 had staff in economic development. So we didn't even use that word. So there's little tricks that we look at. We also saw that we were better in some communities. One community I will not mention that got funded didn't have $1 identified for a match on any of the projects.
Interesting.
So that speaks for itself.
Is that north or is that west and south? Pleading the fifth. Okay, all right.
So we're fine tuning, we're gonna be meeting probably every 2 to 3 weeks now, fine tuning existing projects, and doing down. There was a consensus, and this is a good thing to consider, to really go after the Missouri property as a centerpiece for the next proposal. And we also know that the state folks loved that idea when they came and did the visit, but we need to move on that, because our biggest problem last time, we did not have secured property.
Yeah.
That was shovel ready, that was the Cal Antonio property and all that, and that's what hurt us. Everybody else really identified their priority projects, and the priority projects were all property that was secured. Our biggest piece didn't have that. So actually, the thought is, what do we need to do to move forward on the Missouri property? And we actually talked about, perhaps Deb and I, we have some board members involved in those discussions to help support you in moving the discussions ahead.
All right, thank you. The last time I circled back with Dave Engel, he was going to reach out to the attorney, and they were having problems meeting up, and I haven't been in touch with Dave since about that. So I'll re-up that, and I'll make sure that he understands that that is a priority. I know there was action on some other water-related stuff behind the scenes, but
Can I, Doug, I have the contact at Mitsui, so if that'll help, I can reach out to them too.
You can do it, Mary Ann, I think, in communication with them. Because
Kenny?
there's rumors
Oh,
about
sorry.
another use of that property and
You mentioned, so yeah,
no, that's it.
and I wanna go, in my report, I forgot to mention the shed wall. We've got it about 2/3 of the way cleared off.
Yeah, you had that in there, in your report.
Yeah, but I didn't mention it.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know, because I was gonna ask you about that, I was walking down there the other
But
day.
what do we need to do to foster that? I don't want to get lost between Dave Engel and the attorney, and that is we're just on the sideline waiting for somebody to have
You and I had a
communication.
meeting with Dave Engel or something, and
Yeah, can they just handle it directly, Doug?
the problem is because of the environmental situation in Okmitsui, we have to have someone who is an expert on that and knows what's there to make sure that whatever agreement we could come up with for the possibility of getting that property is something that is fully reviewed and understood, so we know what we are getting ourselves into and make sure that if there are any possible things that could come back on the village is taken care of and seen ahead of time.
I thought Dave said like 6 months ago that he was working on that.
He did.
I want to accelerate the process of having the discussion.
Right, because we need to get that in order to apply for the grant.
Sending a text now.
Rob, why couldn't having maintained that still, because that's starting to grow a little out of hand.
That's them. That's their property still, so.
I know that Jerry mowed it last year, we'll call it
Right, I saw somebody there mowing in the beginning of the year, in the beginning of the spring they were there, but they haven't been back. I noticed I walked there the other day and the grass is getting pretty high down there.
that. So I think March is gonna have a state measure.
But they were down there the other day too, checking they were checking the wells, they had a couple trucks out there.
How about a community farm? You could put chickens down there, goats will eat the grass, you don't have to mow.
we want goats at our house.
Yeah, I think goats are awesome.
We should
I
probably
like
have
those
some
faint
water.
goats, the ones that faint.
Just a quick question on the stuff with the Mitsui property. Would it be possible for Deb and Doug to work directly with Dave?
I'm fine with that.
I didn't know if there was
I
a
haven't
mayoral component.
I haven't followed back with Dave on the last bit of it, but I'm no problem just saying you guys talk to David.
I think the more middle people you cut out, the more efficient
Yep.
the operation.
I just sent him a text and I'll circle back with him tomorrow.
Also,
Okay, if you wanna give him, you can give him my phone number if you want.
Sure.
Also, we're talking about this, another component of that was the Catania property, and I think we voted like a year ago to move forward with eminent domain, and Andy that was when Andy was walking out the door, and I don't think he wanted to tackle it. Can we authorize Elena to start that
I
process?
feel like we already authorized something.
We
Moving.
did talk
I
about it.
think we talked about it, I think, maybe
No,
in
when-
an interview, but.
Before, when
Yes.
Andy was here, we took a vote and we authorized our attorney to start the process, and Andy didn't seem like he was interested in following through on that project,
Okay.
and to this date, we still haven't done anything after
So Kevin, do
voting
you
on
want to reintroduce a motion?
Yeah,
Can I reintroduce that motion to start the eminent domain process on 48 Classic Street? Actually, there's 3 lots.
I'll second that.
I'm sorry, what's the motion on the floor?
To start the eminent domain process on 48 Classic Street, including the two other lots that are next to it.
The adjacent and the one behind it.
Domain proceedings
Yeah.
on, is it all four?
There's three. One is the one in the back next to the river, which actually is where the picnic tables are. He actually owns that there. And he owns all the way back where the greenway is, or his greenway, and down to that wooden garage on the greenway.
You have to have a specific reason to.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you have to have a public project.
Public project or adverse effect, I think. on your-
Which we have on the property, right? Don't we have that on, based on the, where the sidewalks came in, right?
Make it a park or
One
something.
lot.
That's what we're talking about.
Bench.
So are we looking to have this motion specific to what aspects of the rationale for going to eminent domain?
Just the back property, the rail trail, if you will, or the greenway, whatever, runs right through the middle of it.
I mean, if he dies, and I think he's in a nursing home somewhere, one of his family members could come up, geez, I love Hoosick Falls, I'm gonna build something on the riverfront there, and that's the end of our greenway.
Can I ask?
The public purpose is we have a public project that we have proposed to the state,
Actually, it's in our comprehensive plan also.
yeah.
I'm
And it's a
Can I
safety.
ask a legal question, Elena? We've been maintaining the parcel, the kind of multi-trapezoidal one, I guess you would call it there. Is that a good term? For a number of years, probably more than 8 years, including cleaning it, maintaining the rail trail that's on it. Is there an adverse possession there? And as far as adverse,
Proceeding in court to establish it.
The problem is, it could be a lengthy process, so if we don't start now, it may never happen. I mean, we're never gonna come up with projects for New York Forward grant, we don't start these now, and have something on the record or in the books so we can show the New York Forward people that we have, and we are moving forward, trying to make something happen.
I'm going to tell you guys, I'm doing the tour with the New York Forward people and Doug too. You were on the tour, right? They want, when they say, what's going on with this? They want to hear, yeah, we took possession of that last year and this is what we're doing, and hand me the shovel and the money, ready to go, baby, rock and roll.
so
Is that about it?
That's exactly it, and that wasn't necessarily the initial proposal, we could have 2 or 3 years, but what they did was did stuff that would happen in the first year of the.
So we haven't finalized the motion yet, but I just want to show that I'm pretty sure that there's actually 3 properties there. 54, 48, and 44 show up here, as well as the Greenway Trek. And this is a document that came out of the sewer project back when I had just started in 2017, when they were working on easements for the sewer project. And this was the property that we got the sewer easement through, as it runs through the Greenway on the way back. But I think there's 4 properties, so I think we need to be specific about. And you know, I think there's different issues with. There may be different reasons based on properties. We know this cluster of 3 properties here. There's safety concerns with the sidewalk. There's the fact that we've been maintaining properties for a long time, and that is a focus of a significant potential improvement. And then there's a similar, less about safety over here, but more about the fact that it also has been maintained by us primarily. So,
But there's all kinds of drawings and schematics that were done quite a few years ago in our comprehensive plan that showed the possible uses for all those properties. And I think we have to start this now so we can make it happen. They have to go through a process of first trying to find the owner, doing a property appraisal, and then I don't know what goes on from that point.
Make an offer to the owner, and the owner can choose to accept it or not. We still move forward even if they don't accept it, and the owner can, there can be litigation down the road for whatever is above what the village gives. But
So what if you can't find the owner? What happens in that case?
So can't find it?
So
We really don't know where he is?
I believe he's in a nursing home, but
And I'm going to tell you guys, every number that was was I could find in Google searches and everything.
I've
for
done
him
this
or his
before.
family, all went to dead ends. They all it's
It doesn't mean you can't move forward though, it just probably gets, you might have to get the court's permission to serve in another way other than your standard.
Yeah,
Where does that money come? He
I
pays
actually
taxes, no?
I gave Andy all the information, and so he has it somewhere, and copies of.
I can.
I was gonna say, I can always reach out and just ask them to forward as well.
There you go.
That'd be great.
And actually, Andy sent me the last correspondence he had from Mr. Katanga, who was in the hospital in New Jersey, so,
New Jersey, oh boy.
That was a few years back,
Bayonne,
right?
New Jersey.
this was,
19?
2018.
That just brought up a
19,
good point.
okay.
Somebody's gotta be paying taxes on
He
it.
is paying taxes.
But he
Where
does
does
it.
that come?
We looked into that. I remember this. He does it in a way like with no return address, like
Yep.
a bank check.
Yep.
It just shows up.
Actually,
Nothing else.
last time I checked, he hadn't paid his property taxes.
Ooh.
For the first
So-
time.
And I agree with this, and I want to support this. My only concern is knowing the likelihood of this going to court. Everything we do has to be appropriate and not give another side to say, oh, they did the wrong motion or they did it for the wrong reason.
But if the motion is just to give me permission to follow up essentially on what
I mean,
we've
we
already
already,
started.
actually, we already voted on it, so
We need a plan.
I don't think, do we even have to vote on it again?
Just to be
I
safe,
was
what's it
not
gonna
so
hurt?
sure what that vote was before in the minutes, so I.
Yeah, so, yeah, what's the harm, is there any harm in reintroducing the motion?
There's no harm, but there's probably also no harm in me finding out what that was and getting a file from Andy and saying where we need to go from there and
Okay.
have a more elaborate motion.
Okay.
for the next meeting.
So,
We're gonna have to have another meeting anyway.
Next week, probably, right, yeah.
So I'm sorry, what's the decision on the motion?
Next week.
Anytime.
Okay.
we're authorizing or we're giving direction to the
I'll
attorney
get more
to
information from Andy.
get information about what has proceeded already.
And we're looking to do that next week, or we're doing that now?
I'm gonna, there's no motion that's needed
Okay.
for me to do that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so just quickly, the only other thing, just a note on this, is we're looking at expanding other projects, including the armory. Particularly regarding accessibility in the armory, and also may get involved in Jason's building, editing the clinic there.
Did, maybe I told him that question. Did they give you, did they say you could do a video this time, or is that just only for?
We're gonna do it. I don't care
Let's
what
do
they-
it. If they don't wanna
What
look
they
at it, they
say,
don't
what
look
they
at it.
do, and what
By
they
the
want
way,
are three different things.
I reached out, last time, I reached out to George Bashore, who does production in
Let's
Hollywood.
do it.
He agreed to do a video for us, and
That's
then
good.
they said, do it,
That's right.
so
And then another community had it,
yeah.
and they went and saw it.
I say we just do
No,
it.
Right now,
better do a
all
video.
all throttles are open, we'll do everything we can do to get it to work, we're not gonna listen to their rules.
Yeah,
It can't harm us, right?
No, it can't.
Right.
The worst that can happen is they just disregard the video.
We just have to focus on the projects, and that we're gonna go and do these projects, and then we're just not throwing stuff, ifs
Yep.
and whats and everything else
I would also point out that on the tour, they did happen to direct their attention to, what was it 17 John Street? 18 John Street, and said, what are you doing with that? So, before we get to the point of doing the tour again, that needs to be dealt with. Because I kind of did the, we're, in court trying to get access,
Is this your segue into the new local laws coming?
Yeah, it is.
There you go. Doug, anything else?
No.
Thank you. Bobby?
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
Oh.
What do we do? I thought we had already decided on Jim's vacation. He asked me again.
So this, Elena, is a request from an employee. So if we need to step out and executive, tell me. Unused sick time, vacation time, due to the fact that there were a lot of circumstances. Other people who normally work in that area weren't available for a while, so there wasn't the flexibility to take it.
We already.
We discussed this over email. I don't remember if I ever said to you
We did this in the executive
Yeah,
already.
I think it's
We already
last
went through
time.
this whole thing.
we discussed this. So do we need to do anything official to approve it?
If it's going outside of a contract or another, a policy, yes.
Well, it's a salaried employee, and I don't know if there's a,
Non-employee handbook, so-
I don't know if there's a specific policy on it.
Can we do that next week
We've
too?
done it before, you know.
We can do that next week.
Historically, you guys have done it.
We've done it.
Historically, we've done it.
But how have you done it?
We did it by motion,
Say by motion.
we did it by motion last year for the highway superintendent.
I think, that, in my opinion, the practice here, is in the absence of a handbook, is that they have to use it all or they forfeit it by the end of the fiscal year. Whatever with board approval,
Right.
we buy it out. There's sort of a board discretion.
Due to circumstances out of everybody.
Right, there's a lot of circumstances that came, that bring us to this
Well, I
point.
think the board, the practice has been.
I'll make the
boards
motion
retain
that we-
discretion.
Allow him to take, unused vacation.
Do we
Does he
need,
want to use it or does he want
He
to get
wants to
paid
get
for
paid.
it?
Let's get paid.
That's the question.
do we need to have specific details and do it next week, or just,
There should be a motion for whatever the details are.
Why don't we just get it over with right now?
but we need the
We need
details
to
to
know,
get
we
it
need to know
over
the
with.
dollar amount, I think, Bobby. That's what you're saying,
Is it
really.
a buyout, or is he just getting extended time to use it?
Nope, it's buyout. He
Yeah,
wants,
you should.
All right, then I'll get.
alright, we'll look as that one for next week as well.
Denise Tuesday.
We kept saying.
All right, now let's start the water crap. All right, this is gonna be pretty fun. All right, so we had 3 major issues. Number 1 priority is gonna be we need a pump for, it's like a back flush for the skids. Right, Kenny, it's a pump. We gotta have it or we won't be able to pump water out to the system, out to the tank. So this pump that's gone bad, it's $11,000 pump. So this is not,
There's a conversation starter.
That's scary.
yeah. Anyways, that's, I don't have the particular bid in front of me right now because Jim was getting it, but that's huge. The reason it's big is because it back flushes the filters that allow the water to go out to the tanks that run the system, so.
Is this in the water plant?
That's also
Yeah,
part of
yes.
the,
This is
part of our inspection. Okay, number 2 priority is, and Megan Walreed predicted this. We put 7,000 into the dehumidifier last year, well, now it needs another 5,000 to quit working again. There is some small pumps inside that dehumidifier that get overwhelmed.
I think,
It's dripping water in there like a jungle,
I was in there today and there's probably half an inch of water on the floor.
and it's gonna rust.
And it's just, I mean, you've got so many sensitive electronics, pumps,
It's gonna
everything in
ruin
there.
it.
So I think Jim told me that it was 17,000.
Well, listen, this is what's interesting. We put 12 into it in 2 years. We bought in 2008, it lasted 15 years. Put 12 in it right now, obviously, we're not gonna repair this for 5, in my opinion. We're not gonna put 5 into something, it's like putting $5 grand into a car worth $3. So, we could go with the same size, which I think would be silly, because I think we're gonna be doing the same thing and obviously can't handle it. And my experts are Jim, Josh, and Kenny. If they don't say so, gotta believe it, because I don't know the water department,
Needs to be
neither do any of
bigger.
us.
Needs to be.
So, a bigger dehumidifier, Megan said this last year, she did, didn't she?
Yeah, she
Dan?
did.
She did.
A bigger one is 22,000. If we get another one same size, which I think will be a mistake, is 17. We gotta sit down and talk about where we're getting this money. In the budget at 8320, Rob, you know, we had set aside 49,000 for its pump maintenance. I can't remember the exact line, .2. Obviously Denise and I gotta sit down, we talked about it today. I think that's all we can say for now, right?
I think for now, yeah.
It's 33,000 we're already talking about. Now, we have a pump that pumps water, wastewater, right, out to the sewer system, right?
From the water plant?
From the water plant's wastewater,
The backwash
the
water.
Backwash,
all
yep.
that water's gotta
Yep.
get out there, right? So that's where your quote's in front of you. And unfortunately, that pump's 18,247, and the piping needs to get replaced too.
Where is this
Another
one?
3,000.
So this
And
is,
this is by entrance.
yeah, this is in the back, in the ground in the back, the back, it's the backwash tank, so when the filter's backwash, you're getting backwashes, and then you send all that stuff to the sewer plant,
Which filters are we talking about?
The skids.
the skids.
Okay.
Everything that's wastewater in the water plant
Yeah.
goes through this to go
to the sewer.
So, which I think would be a good thing, I talked with Denise briefly, it's never a good thing, but that come out of the sewer budget. What do you think? I mean, you
You
wouldn't know,
could,
but
yeah.
Denise and I talked real
You could.
quickly, and she said, yeah, it sounded like, you know, it's part of the sewer system. Which might be the only way we can do it, gotta have it.
Can't these be classified as PFOA related expenses?
That's gonna say we can.
No, none of them would apply. This one in particular, I was thinking it may be related to GAC backwashing,
Well, I
but
think it
it's
is.
It is,
It's,
yeah.
it's everything.
it's everything. So it may have gotten additional use from. But then you got to talk about how much water is normally sent out through normal skid backwashing versus this.
They'd be sending waste all over.
I think that they have that information. I think that they keep track of that. I mean, how much they pump a day.
Doesn't that water have to be
Which
treated
I'll
once
get
it
you
goes
that
out to
too.
the outside of the building? No?
Where's it gonna go? Who's gonna treat it? Goes to the sewer plant.
They talked about that at one point, about treating that once it flush the system.
Yes, they've
But that would be more-
they had talked about that and
I mean,
never really
That-
moved on it.
We already have a system to take care of that wastewater, but it's a hydromatic pump, which means it's a little bit more expensive. We should look at it through the sewer budget, in my opinion, unless you can figure out if it's PFOA. I spent about 40 minutes with Jim today, plan on spending more, and I had issues with my baby, and not issues, I was with my baby, and he had to do something. I'm gonna be down there again tomorrow, because these are three major things. Prioritized, according to Josh, would be the backflush, as I call it, pump.
Which one's that, Bobby? Just as far as the quotes we're looking at.
That's not a part of the quotes. These
Okay.
quotes are a part of the wastewater pump, hydromatic pump. And Emmons is the company
Yes.
that would use, so we also have to have new piping, which is, you know, the reason for the extra 3,000 versus the 18,247. I don't know if I mentioned, I probably did, as far as the control panel and the money we set aside for ARPA, Bradley was gonna come down, give him a quote, he's still waiting on it, and I don't know if he's got a third Jim, I've tried to tell Jim, we gotta get on that. He knows though, he's right on top of this. Number two, or, to me, it's, both are number one priorities, that dehumidifier has to get done.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
there's just
Wait.
so much moisture in this building.
What's the priority? Because I am all over the place with numbers and
The
quotes. And I have
backflush pump,
no idea what is happening.
The backflush pump, 11,000, that's the number one priority. I think the dehumidifier is also the number one priority. I mean, you can't, there's 2 inches of water on the floor, it's a
Why
joke.
isn't that a PFOA related?
Hopefully it is, cause that should have been installed,
That's part of the building.
right,
So I
so,
don't understand why.
I thought you guys just explained that this wasn't part of.
no,
Dehumidifier is fine.
the dehumidifier, which is 22,000.
That's not related to the GAC building.
It's
Yeah, it is the game.
It is the gap.
No. The dehumidifier where the electric panels are coming out of?
Electric panels are outside,
No, the electric panels were replacing from ARPA funds.
they're outside, it's an outside panel, right?
No, it's inside by the
Yeah, it's inside.
Oh, it's
skid.
inside.
And that's where the
Jim
humidifier
was
is.
telling me outside,
Right,
so
that's-
Right?
The
Dehumidifier.
dehumidifier.
Right, that's where the dehumidifier is, crap the bed.
Yes.
That's
Well, there's
that's
two
not the
like that.
GAC building. The GAC building dehumidifier was we brought up to the companies a bunch of times with the state authority, and they have addressed that. But that's not the one that's down.
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. He said, sorry, Jim said dehumidifiers. is what he
Yeah,
told
he
me.
just told me he got 2 quotes.
I'm under the impression it's the one as part of the normal water treatment plant, not the one in the
Yes.
GAC
It's part
building.
of the normal,
Yeah.
So that one is unrelated to anything related to GAC and PFOA.
Yeah, I mean, you could make that,
I don't
you could make that argument, yeah.
I have no
I
idea.
mean, it's, the
The
all the water
backflush?
comes through.
Would the backflush be part of PFOA? I mean, I think it would, I mean. it's
We
all-
have to have we'll follow up with Jim and
Because
have a
the
longer
GAC
discussion on this.
Be able, if we don't backflush those.
Yeah, and then the other thing is the sewer pump that pumps everything. I mean, that's a priority too, because
Right,
where's
the
that,
Emmons
that
pump.
water's just gonna build up in that tank. It's eventually
It's
gonna,
all three primaries.
yeah, they're all three priorities.
We're looking at $55,000.
Okay. Let's circle back and over email, let's try to get some hard numbers down, maybe organize some quotes into some separate PDFs for each of them.
It's,
All right.
yeah, I mean, it's a very time sensitive thing.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of those things I got today.
It's a high priority.
Yeah.
Okay.
But bottom line, we're talking about 50.
$55,000 of maintenance costs that are
They were
dire.
unforeseen, I mean, well, they were foreseen, but they just.
So they're not in our budget.
Jimmy's operating budget for pump maintenance, I believe, can you look it up, 8320.2?
Yeah, give me a minute on that.
I don't know.
Well, we
It doesn't
can,
really matter what rate.
Right here.
yeah, regardless, we gotta circle back and get some more
Source supply
info.
power and pump is 8320.
But then I gotta know how his breakdown factors into
Equipment line is
things.
49,570, so can it come out of there?
It would be classified as equipment, I would think.
I think
It's
so.
equipment.
Yeah. So, I mean, but we also gotta save some of that for the rest of the year. We're at pretty beginning of this year, so.
We are 15 days in the fiscal year.
Yeah, we gotta find out how much we can weasel from PFOA into this. This is where you
I
put
think
your
for the
cards.
record, you mean we should look into do our due diligence to see how it's all related, and if anything related to the PFOA GAC filtration is causing additional wear on the water infrastructure.
We wouldn't be able to, in this problem if it wasn't for PFOA. That's what we have to look into.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
What about ARPA
Because-
funds? Can we use ARPA funds for any of that?
Oh, we've already
It's
got
on the
50,000
agenda.
Set aside for that panel.
Yeah.
A possible 50. There are 2 quotes in. We're waiting for a third.
So it's possible.
But it's possible.
It's coming. Yeah.
2 of these things landed on my lap at noon.
So we gotta confirm the
But I
numbers
love Jim, guys.
and then look
I
at
think
what
it's
if we
awesome.
cap PFOA.
Yep.
how we use it.
Yep. All right.
He called me at 3 o'clock this afternoon, he said, I'm such a nervous wreck, I don't know what
He
to do."
was really nervous, calling me.
I'm like,
Oh,
"Really?"
yeah, what to do? I'm sorry for bringing the bad news. I'm like, hey, man, thanks for knowing what you're doing.
He's like, I've never
Because
been
he
this
does
out
know what
before,
he's
I'm like,
doing.
just chill out, Jim.
Yeah.
He
All right.
knows what he's doing.
Anything else, Bobby?
I think Kenny.
We're all praying no is the answer.
Talking about yeah, I'm good.
All right, Dan.
There's just the local law stuff.
It's going
we
great.
have on the agenda, we have what's called the junk car, the property maintenance code. It's called a blight control.
Light illumination.
Blight elimination.
Yes.
I like that better. Elimination. To Doug's point earlier, I do think that we probably should notice the public through the paper, through the village website, on the Facebook, whatever, that we intend to eliminate some problems that have, you know.
I think we have a lot of
Our laws
things.
have allowed, you know, it's sort of, you know, allowed some of this to go on, and it's gotten out of control. You take a look at some of these with the fact that we didn't really have a statute until now to be able to deal with that car on John Street is kind of ridiculous. You know, I think Mark, what we were going off was the uniform property maintenance code, which allowed for one junk car, right? So it's
Still not a violation really according to that.
yeah, so, you know, so we're gonna deal with all this, but I think in all fairness, we should let the public know, that, the village intends to, crack down on the blight problem. You know, nobody's looking for a homeowners association or measuring grass, but, when we start having junk everywhere, that are, you know, safety problems for children and cars leaking fluids and everything else around, it's really a problem, so. After that, I think we need some other ones that we need updating, we got some other things that are really outdated. There's one that bans skateboarding on it, you know, this stuff needs to be looked at from the 80s and 90s or whatever, so get these ones done.
1880s.
No, it's a 90s. Yeah, there's a lot of bands that are really blazing and stuff, so, after that's done, we're gonna take a look at some other stuff and try to get 2 or 3 of these on the agenda every month till we get updated, and along with that, we'll be, working on the employee handbook, I'm gonna talk to you about that. It'll coincide with what happens in negotiations, so.
I just wanna add, and we talked about this, that these laws and this kind of tying this all together in movement helps us get economic development grants, because so we're committed to improving the
Yep.
community.
Well, there's no way around it. It was pretty embarrassing having to explain to the guys why Daniel's car was sitting there rotting. You know, we're looking into that.
Yeah.
You know, it's a classic car. I mean, I had to sit there and like, you know, I'm a pretty good BSer, but I had to really,
It's like a
I had to dig
1992
deep on,
Oldsmobile.
You know, beyond
So
the
you're saying you
car,
never
I had to
Go
dig
to
deep on
Macedonia.
that one, okay? You know.
beyond the car,
So
that
you
lies
did-
all the bridge support structures
Yeah.
that he took from when the shop bridge was done.
Oh, he was so adamant that he didn't lose those. He had such
we had to
great
move them
plans
into
on
that
those.
Yeah, I was getting my hair cut,
Literally.
literally told me that he was tasked with,
20-foot length sections of bridge
One time
roads.
I was in the museum.
yeah, I mean, look.
On that lot, you have that car, but you also have that steel.
Yep.
And then there's a couple other things on that lot too. That,
Well, I think that the property maintenance code will allow us to
Make
deal with
moves.
some of these things. I mean, we're not dealing with rational people here. I'm sitting at Aaron's barber and he comes in and tells me he's tasked with determining what handgun the United Nations is going to use.
And again, we're in a regular meeting, so we're just
Yeah, it was-
aware of
okay.
some struggles, and we're gonna
So at any
move
rate, I think
on.
we're going to be able to move. I think we're going to be able to get a lot of these things fixed.
Yeah, our focus is really,
Is the garbage and the junk. And I think by August, how many flatbeds did Phil say he had? 7?
You don't need 'em.
I think you're gonna need a few of them around here. So that's what I got. And then on a happier note, I'm going Saturday to pick up the Ukrainian family.
Yay! Congrats.
We met via Zoom this morning. Our last Zoom meeting was they were very emotional. They are just stuck in limbo. All over they're stuck in Poland right now, and they sold the car. And we went through a lot of stuff about like, please don't bring the apples from the airplane, because they oh my God, it's smuggling in fruit and vegetables, and we went through all that with them. And, so we'll be down there Saturday night, and
Wow.
Statue of Liberty
You
Sunday.
bring them back in the
Oh.
ambulance?
it's the first place to go.
I wanted to, and my wife was
The ambulance?
yeah,
Ambulance.
my wife was like, oh, come on. I said, Jen, where are we going to fit like 3 suitcases, a cat, and all of us in our car? And I said, we'll just leave the ambulance there and we can all pile in. It'll be fun. There's LED lights. We'll have like a discount on our way home.
Deb is jumping at the possibility of being able to give her report soon. I can tell.
So my father-in-law's going to go down and meet us with the truck. Apparently, I can't bring the ambulance.
I'm disappointed.
We're all disappointed.
It's not that easy for you anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Welcome to the U.S.
Anything else, Dan? All right, thank you, Dan. Deb?
A couple quick things,
Quick things.
jumping on what Dan said, I'm also reading through, some of those old laws and those binders that I gave you. You guys all got copies of, just to
Yep,
see
yep.
if stuff needs to be updated, adjusted, whatever, just to get an idea of what all is there. And also, I think, to that, talking about all those laws, having someone in the office who knows how to scan and digitize and all that stuff, is gonna be really helpful. Talking about those. Also, the woodblock building is having a new is dedicating the new windows on Saturday.
Oh, nice.
So it'd be great if some of us, I know I'm going, but anyway, I'll be there.
Hope the water.
And you get to see, look, they're gonna
It's
do
gonna
a
rain
talk,
all
it's gonna be
weekend, I'll
music, and I think they usually get to it. It's a really cool.
Saturday?
Yeah.
I'll be at the Dutch show.
Come on, where's your priorities?
It's the last tour, man.
Listen, you of all people.
I'm borrowing his,
Yes.
And we're back. Deb's still talking.
Okay, that was one thing, 2. Hoosick Rising would, like to, retreat Main Street, right? Are you gonna talk about this? Mary Ann said one of us should say. Oh, she said it was your baby. That we need to retree some of the streets on Main Street,
Oh, yeah.
and, we wanna get grates, that's what they're called, the cages at the bottom of the trees on John Street. You know, it
Yeah,
grows like this and then there's a metal thing around it.
this is all new to me, so I'm just interested in what we're talking about.
Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, well, Hoosick Rising
No,
wants to do
no,
it,
no,
it's
no,
not
no,
gonna
no,
cost
no.
us anything, okay, so some of the trees I guess on Main Street are not so great. And then also some of the trees on John Street have those metal things around them so people can't dig up and stuff.
So, just a little bit of preface to this. Many years ago, we used to have trees in John Street and Main Street, or maybe they're still in John Street, but they were part of the sidewalk.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
And we had trees there, and then the roots were breaking the sidewalks, and the village decided, we're getting rid of the trees. And that brings
I don't
us.
think Neil liked trees.
That could also be the
That's
case.
one thing
but-
I agree with Neil, once you put the trees in a section of sidewalk and they start growing after a couple of years, you can,
Well, the problem
Well, the
was,
trees are already there.
you need to,
there's no trees on Main Street.
you need to plant trees,
Trees.
yes there is, but you need to plant trees that don't grow large.
Like the
But
ginkgos,
there's
that's
a
why
tree
I
on
put
Main
the
Street
ginkgos
across
in.
from the Harfiner home, there's one still left there.
In the sidewalk?
Yep.
Anyway, it's not gonna cost us anything, they just wanna know, do we need to ask your permission, can we just go ahead and do it? Can they, who's advising?
We need to get more information, and I think this will be a divisive thing because of the past situation. I'm not saying I'm against it, but I know that
No,
the village in recent
No,
history.
I think they're awesome.
Well, we keep tearing-
Well, the trees are already there
We keep
on John
cut-
Street.
We keep cutting trees down and we're not replacing them, and it's not, I think it's not a good look for the village, so we just keep cutting them down, and
We're replacing trees in Wood Park.
we are, or,
They're being
donor
donated.
is.
They're being donated as far as I know, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, perfect.
that's all in motion. That's
Doesn't
all.
cost us anything.
Yeah.
Sycamore.
But to your
As for John
point,
All your
Street,
labor.
if I may finish, John Street, we already have trees, there's one right in front of my shop, I know it, there are trees on both sides of the street, we just replanted the ginkgos, we planted ginkgos on the north side of the street last year, or the year before,
2 years ago. I
2 years ago,
Yeah,
so,
Other side, I think.
those little ones right there, Rob,
Yep.
yeah, that,
that ginkgo.
Yep.
right there.
so where are you guys looking to put these?
Just a grate, we're just looking to put grates around the wood,
Can you blow that up, Rob?
Sounds good.
I can probably get a little bit closer.
She's talking about protector
yeah.
type grate.
Yeah, see those metal things?
The
around
metal
the bottom?
grates, I see what you're talking about. I don't
Yeah.
I understand what
They're
you're
not
talking
everywhere.
about.
Yeah.
They're not on all the trees, so that we wanna just put them on all the trees.
Oh, you're not talking about new trees. You're talking about grates for the trees.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were talking about new
So did
trees.
I.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
I thought you were talking about replacing trees.
I was
Gonna
with you,
find
Dad.
that.
I was with you.
You
Oh,
would-
thanks, Mark.
Well, I think she's talking about planting trees too, right?
Yeah.
Sycamores or something?
So what,
That I'm not sure, but if, I can have her come to a meeting, that, she would be glad to do that.
Oh, that's
I'll do that.
going to be a lot less of an issue.
so there's
that's true.
there's no grates around the base of the trees now?
Some of them have them and some of them don't.
Where would we even?
This is old.
I wouldn't even know.
Marion will know it. We don't have to do it. Oh, we may have to do
We may have to
put it in.
install them, but they're gonna
Right.
buy them.
Yeah,
Who's the rider's gonna buy them?
I think it's worth Marianne and
Coming
Penny
here.
getting
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
I mean, they don't need to come here
No.
until Kenny can get together with Marianne and
Yeah.
just be like, "Here's where we're looking," and that's fine.
Yeah, she's got my number, so I mean, you know.
okay,
Oh, Joe's Street View since that was up. That's exciting.
No, it's not my truck.
okay.
Is that a jaywalker?
Don't think you
Is
about
that
it.
you, Bobby? in the
That's
front?
not my truck. No, it's not.
Bobby just missed a jaywalker,
Do you
and
know-
we're
do you guys
back.
know that, you know where the, Johnson and the law office there is, next to Walgreens?
Mhm.
That, they were gonna tear that down and all the key bed parking lot stuff, years ago.
Great.
'50s, the '60s or something, they wanted to put a strip mall in there.
Oh, I thought it was a strip joint.
No.
I thought you were gonna say.
You and Bobby go someplace else, 'cause I'm not interested in that stuff. But anyway, this is a piece of, so, okay, take care of that. I just wanted to say that also that the cafe tables are out in Kennedy Lane,
Look great.
and they look really nice. They're a light, really minty color, and they look great against the brick, so they're really, really nice. And I think there's 3 of them, so Hoosick Rising put those in, and it's terrific.
Made possible by a previous local law that we had done.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Boom.
And then I have stuff about, a little bit about I wanted to start a discussion about the fourth floor playground, but we can wait till later.
It's on the agenda.
Okay.
All right, Kevin.
Parking studies underway, Creighton Manning's been in town doing studies at different locations at different times. I met the engineer in the Church Street parking lot, and also met the engineer that was doing up at the Point, which seems to be becoming more dangerous every day. There's more trucks parked there now than there used to be.
2 vans now.
2 vans, 4 trucks, and it's really a dangerous situation where now people are coming down from the Hill Road and not turning right away to the left on Church Street, but coming around the Point
And then-
and doing it and spinning around back down Church Street. which is, it's very dangerous.
So I took it upon myself last week to put a bunch of no parking signs up there.
Before the parade, right?
Before, well, it was quite a few days before the
Right.
parade.
And that was
because-
great.
Because they wouldn't move, so we could sweep it. And there was that much dog crap on the sidewalk. They literally tied their dog to the front porch, it was out, shits on the sidewalk, comes back out. So I left the no parking signs up. They moved their cars, and I believe that Saturday, Paul called me, and I talked to you about it too. And so I had to go take the no parking signs down. But it was awesome. I mean, it was, you saw it, it's nice and clear up through there, and they actually cleaned up their dog shit up.
It was great. They went and parked over in Doug's Oil.
Yeah.
That was perfect.
So, Elena, this is the point at the end of Church Street and Main Street. And as you can see, it's kind of a weird thing. This is Hill Road and 22. This is Main Street here.
So the
This
cars
is
are
Church
parked
Street. And this is that
all
weird
the way
spot
back.
that no one's quite sure how to use it in the right circumstances. And this line of cars now extends past the picture.
And it's literally
Right at a
maybe 15
intersection.
feet wide, the street is.
And actually, that's a great picture because you can
And
see
so
where
what-
the sweeper had to go around the trucks. And that's why Kenny put the signs up for no parking. So
But that's
that
a two-way
Bruce
street,
could sweep.
too, right?
Next one
It is.
Yes.
It's two-way.
Unfortunately, the people that own that house and their tenants both work for HVAC companies, and they both have vans from their work, so they leave the trucks there
all day.
all day, so.
And then at night, the vans are parked there
Right,
as
so
well.
there's 4 vehicles
Yeah.
instead of 2.
Well, there's 6 up there now. There was 6 tonight.
The roads
And
never
then-
go all the way.
And then the next homeowner up has 2 trucks
Yep.
in front of them, so it's a very dangerous situation
Well, hopefully this parking study will show that we should make that a one-way
Beyond the
street.
width of the truck.
Yeah.
So I'm really impressed by the technology they're using cameras in both locations and also using radar and traffic counters.
Okay. Great.
When will it be finished, Kevin?
I don't know, I didn't ask them that today, but I'm gonna call the main office and talk to them anyway to see if they need any more information. I know you talked about in front of the post office is a potential problem too,
Yeah.
so I wanna follow
Oh,
up
that
on that.
diagonal parking,
I
that's
almost
where
ran
I'm
into
gonna
it the other
die.
day.
Yeah, that guy
The other thing I just wanna say, thank you to Terry Burdick and the American Legion, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, and the community band for the Flag Day presentation. Last night it was fantastic. The community band was at the top of their game, and really thank them for putting on that annual event, which is held here in Hoosick Falls. That's it.
Awesome.
You know what else I would like?
Is it the rink because of rain? What's that, Kenny?
Mention somewhere along the lines.
Sure.
Burdick and Ellen.
Yes.
They are constantly walking around the village, picking up garbage. They carry bags and
Oh, every day.
every single
day.
day.
And stuff nobody else wants to touch. too.
Yeah.
It's like-
I mean, cigarette butts, they got a little,
They got a picker.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
and they're just, I think that they should get a little recognition. I mean, every single day,
Is
rain
that
or
something
shine.
that could happen at a board meeting?
I actually there's another situation that someone brought up.
I did.
A citizen, is that the,
Jay Bradley's. I remember I talked to what we're gonna do. We can do that maybe next week if we're gonna have another meeting. But remember, Jay Bradley's 110 years of service
yes.
in the community.
There was another situation that the police brought up, back when we had the stabbing. There was a citizen who actually jumped in and helped out.
Oh,
That
yeah.
we thought was worthy of recognition. So I think we need to organize a way to recognize a lot of these individuals.
Why don't we just do like an annual recognition? We used to have, when I grew up in Fort County, we had Mr. Johnstown and Mrs. Johnstown, and that's a little bit over the top. But,
Dan, are you volunteering to organize this?
well, I think also Kingsford City. Yeah, there was different things through the years. Different things.
Keys to the swoop later?
I'll pass.
No, I mean, but this, I agree, and I agree, and yes, I think we should do that.
I'll get the details for that so we have the.
Um,
Deb, I want to use your
Well,
art services.
No, absolutely.
Along those lines, I would just point out that I don't think the board has ever officially recognized Michael Hickey for the work that he did in
everything.
protecting the PFOA for starters. You know, I don't think we as a board have ever done anything
We haven't.
to recognize him, and I think that maybe we need to take a look at the 4 or 5 individuals do some kind of recognition here at one of the meetings this summer, because if it wasn't for Michael, there's not 0% chance that we may all be drinking Teflon stuff.
Yeah, people treat them awful.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's correct, and I could really care less what those other people's opinions are. I mean, in my opinion, I'd still be drinking Teflon. So, you know, I think that we really should probably recognize Michael and Ellen. She goes by Scott.
It's Ellen Stemper. Ellen Scott. Yeah.
I was calling Ellen Stemper.
I love her as a mail lady. She always sit there and talk to me. I don't know how she had any mail delivered, but they do.
There is a volunteer service week, April 16th to 22nd, to shine a light on people that serve in communities. So, I mean, we could do something beforehand, but we could do something every year. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
I do think we need to recognize Michael Hickey. Notwithstanding, I don't care what anybody else their opinions are.
I'm right with you, he's a great.
Hey, he put a lot of money in every one of our pockets.
Yeah.
Whether you like him or not, and if it wasn't for him, nobody would have anything.
And the best part was that wasn't his intention.
As I said to him, I said, Mike, who cares? None of those people that were complaining came to your door and take your blood money and threw their checks back at you. So
The other person that should be on the list is Amy Allen, who maintains the point, the flowers and trees every Christmas.
Yeah, she uses her own money for that. She doesn't ask for anything. You know, she buys her own Christmas tree every year and puts it up there at the point, decorates it.
Oh, is that how that happens? I've always wondered that.
She does all that on her own.
We could get a plaque so that it's in the village municipal building and has for history's sake.
I love this idea, and I want to flush it out when it's not 9:05 at night.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'd be willing to be involved in providing some leadership around organizing that.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. That's fantastic. Kevin, anything else? Bobby?
I think every point I had been touched. My thing I had was the excavator was in my back of my head. I wanted to see how we were going on that. But
All right.
I'm good.
Okay. We're on to old business ARPA funds, correct? Okay, behold, on the screen is the most recent spreadsheet, which I just updated with 2 figures. Let me try to get the Zoom to work here. Just as a reminder, 343 total. This is what we have remaining, and I'll explain why in a moment. Down here talks about what we have approved in the past. The 2 recent ones, which I couldn't remember, were the $19,000 for the parking study, which was done back in May, I think that was the board meeting. And we did this via motion. We decided, we approved setting aside, we planned to spend $50,000 of ARPA funds, but we weren't specific to that. But we did make a motion to do that. So I've kind of thrown in the $50,000 as a placeholder, even though it's not an official.
Because we didn't have enough bids, remember?
Yeah, we wanted to get more details, and so that's there. So I threw in $50,000 as a placeholder, which means we have $89,198.51 remaining of ARPA funds. And just as we've heard a bunch of water needs, we've heard the Channing Library was here. We know that the police force has been talking about, from the very beginning, they've been trying to get the evidence technology as their primary, a couple other things in there. So
The quote to redo the handicap ramp is $35,000.
Oh yeah, is that the one at the municipal building?
Municipal, yes.
Okay.
Bob and I also talked to Scott Goldstein when he was doing the gazebo about another option with a ramp. We all would like concrete. But remember, he was talking about the option of a metal ramp that if we didn't have the funds, that would be cheaper.
So,
I don't think it looks as good. But.
Kevin had brought up an email that we have a lot of projects that we talk about, and I said we need to make this next few weeks the priority of getting a complete list and either getting ballparks or quotes or both. And I really appreciate that reminder, and that's a priority for July.
It's kind of embarrassing when, especially with band concerts and concerts.
Yeah. And we had a plan for the bathrooms. We took that the ladies' side space, lost space because the municipal office bathroom was so tiny, and the plan had been to make that the men's bathroom because technically we don't need that much space. So you have a stall and you have a urinal and that would work, and then shift over. We also talked about possibly taking some of the space back out of the one side of the police department to make that bathroom bigger.
Or make it the women's bathroom.
Right, but then again, also, I mean, there's also the possibility of maybe we don't need to have gender-specific bathrooms, but also it's hard not to do that because we have limited space there.
Because if you go in during any big event in the town, there's usually
A huge
5
line.
women waiting in line, and
Yep.
there's no men, so.
Yes. So
One of the things that Civic Care wants to do is put an open public 24-hour bathroom in the Woodlock building too.
that would be great. That would be great. So
I'm just gonna tell you right now, I don't have the carpentry experience that Neil has, so when
Ken,
it comes to building bathrooms.
Well, I personally think that's something that should be done professionally anyway, because
Yeah.
you're talking the municipal building, you're talking, that's the eye of the public. I don't think that should be a cop job.
by professionally, you mean Dan and his father-in-law.
Yeah, but don't you agree?
Well, see, the problem there is.
No, I agree. I
You do
agree.
it once.
I agree.
I wanna see the inside of the damper first,
The ambulance.
or the damn.
All right.
Camper?
So
That's more my wife.
this is here. I will get this out to you guys.
Could you email that to us?
So I will definitely email that to you. And in case we want to come back, in my mind, I like what Cheney Library is asking for. I don't know if I'm still kind of reconciling the fact that these other organizations we've given to don't have a tax base, and I understand their argument. I want to kind of reconcile that more, look at a more
I'm not
complete
sure it
list.
falls in the categories yet. Elena was gonna.
And we have to look into that as well. So I don't want to move on anything quite yet with that,
I don't
but I
think
know
we
we've
should.
sort of planned on July for that. So
It will be.
Kevin, you looking like you're thinking something?
Just looking.
All right, cool. So yeah, I will get this emailed out to you guys. And if I don't, just remind me and I'll shoot it out. Anything else for that in terms of old business?
I think on the new business, if you're gonna address the lot line changes that we need to do up there on Easy Street.
It's on here, I think.
I was not on here, and the
Oh.
last I had spoken with everything else going on, I kind of was sent some emails out and haven't followed up on it. So, do you want to speak about this real briefly, or Elena, have you reviewed this? Do you feel like we can move on this?
I agree.
It's very simple.
Yeah, that's what I don't think it's.
You know, they're just looking for approval. It was something that was done on the original Easy Street project. I kind of showed it to you.
Just to correct it.
They're
Can
correcting,
we get puddled here?
correcting
I thought there was one for sale.
What do you got, number for
correcting the
DoorDash?
line.
Stunned.
So this is great, this is Water Street, this is, Water Street, there's water runoff from the street. All right, and there's a retention pond down here, well, they have this right of way going through it, the actual, how it should be is coming around it. So this is jogged a little bit this way, and it's, so really, it's just correcting, this is the correct map, this is wrong. So in the process of selling this lot, somebody's gonna put a house on here, so that they're just making this right. And they just wanna.
So it's just the map that's getting corrected.
Yeah, it's just
The thing
getting
itself is
corrected,
okay.
Is that the
Is that
retention
right
pond
away?
coming out?
Yes.
Is that the country club that right away?
No, this is all Easy Street, this is going up to the cul-de-sac on Easy Street.
Oh, okay.
Country Club will be over here, up here on the hill.
I knew they were pending.
So this is the retaining pond.
You can actually see that from Buzzy Lane. can't
So
you?
this was a part of the original design for the water runoff
For that development.
for that development.
Well, counted.
So it is just a corrective.
Oh, yeah.
Correct this, it's Burgess Hill Estates.
So what do we need? We have a motion?
Motion to approve the corrected survey, Burgess Hill Estates, lots 5, 6, 7, 8, 7.
I'll make it, Rob.
Can you say that lot again?
Lots 5, 6, it's a map of lots 5, 6, 8, 7.
Okay. Can I see that again? Okay. Burgess Hills Estates lots. All right. So this is a motion to approve the corrected survey of Burgess Hills Estates lots 5, 6, and 8,
5, 6, 8, 7 is what's.
or is that an and? It looks like both. I don't know if that's a weird font 8 or an and. 5, 6,
7.
maybe it's 8.
So it's actually a lot. It's 5, 6, 7. So it must be. That must be in the end. It's 5,
Okay.
6.
Is this the corrected one?
If you don't have anything to do,
Yep, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. All right. 6 and 7. Okay. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Doug. Further discussion on it? Elena, obviously it sounds like you're good with this.
I am.
And these were, let the record show these were prepared by Donald Tate. So we're good. All right. All in favor of the motion to approve the corrected surveys?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Carries. Thank you.
I just need to get you to sign this.
I'm going to just do it right now. Deb, take please the discussion regarding the 4th Ward playground. Where am I signing?
Oh, what? Wait, where?
New business.
Oh, okay.
Number 1.
Well, actually, it's just, we need to do something. The insurance company, who, I guess inspected it, said that certain things need to be done, but Kenny's actually already started on it, after years of getting other people to do it.
Am I the grantee?
Yeah, I mean,
So,
Elena, am I the grantee or the grant? I'm the grantee on this.
Gazebo
yeah,
needs-
that's broken. I mean, I don't know
Right there.
where, you know,
I didn't know we had all the paperwork.
like, whose
Do you want
stuff
to go
that
over real
is.
fast?
Yeah, I haven't seen
Is
this.
that our
the
stuff?
village is stopped. The
yeah.
village
you
is-
know,
Would we need a
there was-
motion to
there was a-
authorize me
there
to
was a
sign it?
commit-
This is
a
all
committee
part of
of
the same
foreground
So
playground-
we're good.
foreground
Yeah.
You know,
Because I don't,
It was more than, more than, I lived
No,
there
we're the-
from
yes, we're the grantee.
2004, I lived on Webster,
For the grant.
so it doesn't matter.
Oh,
The playground
thank
was
you.
there then, I think the playground's been here for a long time.
Yeah, and I think there was a group of people who
30, 40
upgraded
years.
it last time, like that.
Yeah, that was quick.
Bacchitis and Stoll, who lives right near there, when his kids,
Yeah, Rosemary.
who were all graduated, yeah.
Rosemary and Terry Bird, too.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
So I know that like the
Are you looking at
the little
Senate?
horsey things you get
I'll
on,
go see
they're
them.
like, got jagged
You
metal
want some
sticking
maps?
out.
I got you want some maps.
So maybe,
I got
Are we
one.
gonna make copies for us?
maybe we should
I
start
can
Yeah.
see about
doing
getting
the
copies.
stuff that's
Is
business.
there-
Wait, buyer
Right in the
signature?
race.
Once you start taking it away, what are you gonna replace it with? Then
Well-
it's gonna look like crap. It's gonna be-
Well, yeah, but this one's, well,
Yeah,
yeah,
we
I'd
got
rather
a
have
conflict
it not be
information.
there, look like crap, than
Right.
somebody get hurt.
So, and I know that you said that, you know, previous people have said that things were ordered for it.
And on back order for, I don't know how
Yeah, I
many.
never heard anything.
So I can, do you talk to Paul Baker, really?
I do, Paul's a good friend of mine.
Oh,
Can you,
Not school
can
anymore.
you? are we
No,
sorry?
he is. He's got one more month.
Okay.
Maybe longer.
I'm also,
Right?
someone told me at one time that St. Mary's, which is now ISA, were willing to donate their
Oh,
playground
you can ask
stuff.
them. Well, you better ask them, not me.
I don't,
Well, ISA doesn't even own the property yet, I don't think, so.
I think they would.
so who, is it still the Catholic Diocese that still owns it? So, I mean, you know, that playground equipment was fairly new, I don't know what kind of shape it's in.
Remind me and I'll reach out to Dean.
Kevin, who's that?
I'm friends with Dean.
Kevin?
Not yet,
Not yet.
they're still leasing it from the DAS.
Yeah, I can reach out. I
Actually,
can reach
so some
out
of
to
that
Dean.
stuff, we need to figure out a way, like, people complain about cats going underneath that structure and using the sand.
Yeah, I mean,
For what?
take the sand out and put wood chips down.
Did you guys take care of the concrete kind of being at the bottom of the hole, like being open?
Yeah, the chunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we dug it up.
Thank you.
So, anyway, so I guess what we need to do is to really upgrade some stuff, like take some stuff, it's not like. So, should we get a committee, I think, did it last time, not
It would
us,
be great
community.
to get somebody up there, you know, to paint the swing sets and stuff, they're rusty and it just, you know, I don't have enough guys.
There's a company out there called Architects that will come in and show you what you can do.
There's also the group that, who did the town one, was it Lions?
That was Kiwanis.
Kiwanis, yeah.
So, I don't know, I don't know, what do you think is the best way to do this? Should I
I
reach
think-
out to one
I
of them
think-
and ask for help? Or
I
should
think
ask-
I would.
Playgrounds.
A couple of us need to take the leads on this because we need to review the current and the previous insurance recommendations. I think part of their recommendations is to take the entire swing set down because of one part of one
Yeah.
pole, which just drives me crazy. But also, it's the insurance saying
Well,
that.
when we went over there the other day to grease them, those things are pretty dangerous, they're pretty worn. the swings.
The chains or the swings?
The actual brackets that hold the chain to the swing is pretty much just worn through. They're very thin metal now.
Is it easy to replace those?
No.
Tear the whole thing down.
I really don't want somebody to get hurt there. I don't
No,
want
definitely
there
not.
And let then somebody get hurt.
Knowing it's a
So
liability,
maybe
I think
we
we
can-
need to do something.
Yeah, no. Can somebody meet with me? What do I know next up? Can we meet and talk
Sure.
about?
Sure.
Why don't you guys start
Put it
there?
in the bucket truck and
And
shove
I
it up.
think
Oh, that'll
that
be fun.
as we're thinking
What
about,
I do that, I'll talk to the Eagles too and see if
You don't go in it?
Eagles.
I don't do
They're
that.
good about
has to
donating
run-
money.
The only way we can have a club is to, we can't make money, we have to donate it back. They like to do it for each other, so that might be a good one. I don't know if we've already done that for a year though, because we're staying.
All right, well, the
I'm
more,
still
the
gonna
more
ask.
tentacles we
That's
put
right.
out there, the more will
Yeah.
come back to us.
Yeah.
And also, if you could just give a quick call to Mr. Baker and ask him if he knows anything about swings being back ordered that he maybe ordered for the school.
That's something the Eagles like too, so.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
we put it
Deb-
out there to all of them, but let's go over there and.
Deb and Kenny, I don't want to hold up any work, but I would love to be involved in that just
Yeah, okay.
because my kids have
Yeah,
grown
what
up
do I
at
know? I
that
don't
park,
have
so
anything, so what do I know from that?
there you go. But I also have a lot, so I don't want to hold that up. All right. Do we need to do any further discussion on Cheney Library?
I think we'll discuss it later, right?
Oh, I just skipped over a bunch of things on the new business. I'm sorry.
What?
Um,
Both local law and
or am I on the wrong page?
No. We did no new business. We did what the Mark asked for.
All right, but that wasn't the very top thing. The very first thing on my agenda is the motion to approve the application. Oh,
We did that.
that is it. Oh,
We did that.
jeez. Oh my gosh.
Local law be,
No, that's different.
No, it is different. Yeah, this is a
Oh.
different thing.
I'm
This is
sorry.
okay. So Denise explained this to us. Denise is asking us to make a motion, in a sense, to kind of make official. It's to approve the application for correction of multiple parcel errors on village property tax bills. And the explanation is simple. Rensselaer County did not calculate the Cold War exemptions properly. The 12 bills were corrected and sent to the property owners, along with a letter from Rensselaer County Tax Director Deborah McGrath. So this is just
Cold War exemption.
It doesn't matter.
it's part of the essential. It's part of exemptions that are calculated, and someone noticed that it was calculated incorrectly. And as a village municipality, we just kind of have to go through the motions to formally approve this.
I make a motion.
A second.
Okay.
Sure.
Oh, jeepers! Oh my gosh! All right.
Dan,
Who was that
Dan,
again?
Dan,
Okay.
Bobby D.
All right.
All
Thank
in
you.
favor?
All in favor? Opposed or abstentions? Carries. Jeepers. All right. Great. So we have, drum roll please, that's not the one. 2 proposed laws that we are looking to introduce tonight. The first one is local law, proposed local law B, 2023. This would be a local law disallowing junk vehicles, air quotes, junk vehicles in the village of Hoosick Falls under circumstances and establishing penalties for offenses. Before I jump to asking someone to, do I need to formally ask someone to introduce it and second it? Or do we just introduce it and
I
just,
think we've always had somebody introduce it.
that's what I thought too. So before we discuss, I'm looking for someone to formally introduce the local law.
I'll introduce it.
And I need a second. Okay. Elena or Dan, or anyone who's in the local law committee, do you want to quickly summarize?
Yeah, I'll make it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna deal with junk cars. I think we already talked about it earlier in the meeting. We're gonna deal with junk cars. The local law will be, I believe it's published on the village website or in the
Yep.
paper, right?
Both.
It's available for anybody to see. Specifically, we're exempting historical vehicles from it, so.
And all the ambulances?
No, ambulances are a special exemption.
Ian vehicles that are being worked on, or something like that, you said?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a bona fide, if a vehicle, I think, is truly under rehabilitation, then
Now,
that's
by state code, it can be a major, it cannot be a major disassembly in the yard.
Yeah, because you don't want, somebody could.
No, because remember we had a guy on
Somewhere,
Fifth
yeah.
Street who pulled the engine right down.
That's in state code.
okay. So changing brakes is okay, flipping out, changing out your tires, right?
Yeah, no, you start tearing engine apart and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So,
Awesome, I like this.
alright, I introduce it,
I'll second, Bobby second.
That's your motion.
that's my motion. Well, I think it's not a motion, I think someone has.
I think once it's introduced, that's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it need a second?
Public hearing.
Yeah, so I'm assuming we are all looking to set a public hearing for July 12th meeting. The July meeting, which is July 12th.
Yep,
I'll
make it.
Good to set this one for, looking for motion to set this for July 12th at 6 p.m.
Okay.
Does that work?
I'll make it.
All right, I need a second for that.
Second.
All in favor of setting this public hearing?
Aye.
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 Opposed or abstentions? Public hearing is set. Moving on to the next local law we're introducing, proposed local law a local law establishing a property maintenance code for the village of Hoosick Falls. I think this one is a little more substantial. Looking again for someone to introduce it.
I'll introduce it.
All right. And I need a second.
Second.
All right. Okay. Dan or Elena also want to kind of quickly summarize this one? Or Doug? Anybody?
I'll make it really quick for you. Basically, it's an extensive, it's a law that's quite extensive. This speaks to the minimum standards by which a person needs to maintain their property, including removal of trash, blight, and other things which, inhibit the neighbor's ability to enjoy their own property. That's all I got.
That's great.
Awesome.
So,
Lot of-
they can read it themselves.
A lot of good work on this. Thank you guys for doing this, taking it on, taking comments from the board. This is outstanding. We don't want the public hearings to overlap, right? So if we set one for 6, should we do like 6?
We can do it for the same time.
Okay.
Just one will follow.
Might well, might get more people.
There you go. All right, so I'm looking for a motion to set the public hearing for July 12th at 6 p.m. Concurrent with the other one. That was Kevin and Dan, I think.
Doug.
That was Doug. My bad. All in favor of the public hearing motion? Aye. Opposed or abstentions? Carries. All right, I got 2 resolutions specific to the water storage and water main replacement, and I did give these to you guys in your packet of resolutions. I printed out hard copies this time because I didn't get them out early enough. So these are specific to the Delaware engineering water projects that we're trying to move forward on, and both of these will allow us a greater likelihood of getting grant funding, specifically in the second resolution, WIA funding. So the first one is set up by our bond, Tom Myers, bond council. Thank you is the word. This is a resolution authorizing water system improvements in and for the village of Hoosick Falls, Rensselaer County, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $7 million, and authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the issuance of $7 million serial bonds of said village to pay the cost thereof.
Is there a cost to apply for this?
No, they are bearing the cost of it. That's what Delaware Engineering has been clear on. Is if they we get this, then they'll get to do work on it.
What if our share is way too much?
Then we decide what we cut back on.
We can just say, no, we're not interested in this grant?
Yeah. But in reality, we kind of said what is everything we would want, and then we made a priority list of what are the things that we're most focused on. And then from there we can decide.
I'm just worried about bonding in the future, just because.
Don't disagree with you.
Next year, we're gonna be adding the First Fitzgerald.
Yeah, that's going to be a serious budget issue. Or no, it's the year after. I think it's 24-20. Oh, that is next year. 24-25. There you go. But yes. So again, as I said earlier, this is not a guarantee that we're going to do this. It just allows us for the possibility, and is a checkbox for the grants.
I will make that.
Elena, I don't need to go through this fully, right? Okay. So the resolution details are here, and this is as I said before, Resolution is adopted subject to permissive referendum. I need someone to offer this resolution.
I will.
Thank you. And a second.
Second.
Thank you, Kevin. All right. Any further discussion? This is a roll call vote. Deputy Mayor Ryan, I'll just go on the line.
Yes.
Trustee O'Malley.
Yes.
Trustee Alter.
Yes.
Trustee Shudding.
Yes.
Trustee Decker.
Yes.
Trustee Sauer.
Yes.
And Mayor Allen is also a yes. So that is approved unanimously. Thank you. The second one is on the next one in the packet. This is a resolution approving a WIA funding application regarding lead removal and water storage upgrades. And yes, and again, this is all that's specific to the project name, and we included the possibility of lead removal being part of the project name. We don't have anything that is telling us that that's definite, but it's out of an abundance of caution we're doing that. And I have, therefore be it resolved that the Village of Hoosick Falls is authorized to submit the WIA grant application. The village mayor of the Village of Hoosick Falls is authorizing to sign the WIA grant application and New York State East FC contract documents. And 3, the village agrees to provide the matching funds required for WIA projects through the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. Need someone to offer the resolution? Is that you, Dan?
Yes.
And need a second?
Second.
That was everybody. I'll give it to Doug. Thank you, Doug. Further discussion? Roll call vote based on the names here. Trustee Alter.
Yes.
Trustee O'Malley.
Yes.
Trustee Shudding.
Yes.
Trustee Decker. Trustee Sauer.
Yes.
I, Mayor Allen, am a yes. Deputy Mayor Ryan.
Yes.
All right, that is approved fully. Thank you. Next, I have 2 resolutions that I have alluded to. The first one is a resolution appointing a police chief for the Village of Hoosick Falls Police Department, as up here on the board, short and sweet. Whereas the Village of Hoosick Falls Board of Trustees desires to appoint a full-time police chief in the Village of Hoosick Falls Police Department to fill the vacant position. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Hoosick Falls in regular session, duly convened as followed. The Village of Hoosick Falls Board of Trustees hereby approves the appointment of Timothy Culinary to the position of full-time police chief in the Village of Hoosick Falls Police Department at an annual salary of $56,020.90 per year, effective July 1, 2023. This appointment is a provisional appointment subject to successful completion of all civil service requirements. Need someone to offer the resolution?
Offered.
Ryan. And is that Kevin? O'Malley? Further discussion? Hearing none, going for a roll call vote. Again, in order of how it appears, Trustee Alter.
Yes.
Trustee O'Malley.
Yes.
Trustee Shudding.
Yes.
Trustee Decker.
Go Doug first.
What's that? Oh, okay. Trustee Sauer.
Given that this is a recommendation of the mayor, I would say yes.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I'll circle back. Trustee Decker. I am voting yes as mayor. Deputy Mayor Ryan.
Yes.
Given that it's the recommendation of the mayor, I'll vote yes.
Appreciate it. Thank you. The foregoing resolution was unanimously adopted. And with your permission, trustees, I missed this resolution on the agenda, but I would like to move forward with the next resolution. A resolution appointing a village clerk for the Village of Hoosick Falls. And again, whereas the Village of Hoosick Falls Board of Trustees desires to appoint a full-time village clerk in the Village of Hoosick Falls to fill the vacant position that resulted from a retirement, blessings Marie O'Neill. And whereas the Village of Hoosick Falls Board of Trustees received 19 applications for the posted position, conducted 8 first-round interviews, and conducted 4 second-round interviews for the vacant village clerk position. Thank you, by the way, all who were involved. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Hoosick Falls in regular session, duly convened as follows. The Village of Hoosick Falls Board of Trustees hereby approves the appointment of Clarissa Mango to the position of full-time village clerk in the Village of Hoosick Falls Clerk's Office at an annual salary of $40,000 per year. That appointment is effective July 10, 2023. Need someone to offer the resolution?
Oh.
Thank you. And second.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Alter. Further discussion? Roll call vote. Trustee Alter.
Yes.
Trustee O'Malley.
Yes.
Trustee Shudding.
Yes.
Trustee Decker.
Yes.
Trustee Sauer.
Yes.
Mayor Allen is a yes. Deputy Mayor Ryan.
Yes.
All right. And we have 2 appointments. Outstanding. Thank you guys. Any other?
Just, I think our phone message still says we're open Monday through Friday.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. That's something I'm gonna get to show my new village clerk how to use this technology.
That's why you've been waiting, right?
Yes, that's exactly why, and no other reason. Is there anything else the board wants to bring up? We do have a very brief executive session, which will be a very brief update on a separate thing that hasn't been discussed yet. So I'm looking for a motion to enter executive session
I move.
to discuss. Doug, thank you. Second, Ryan. Further discussion. All in favor of moving to executive session with no business to conduct at the end? Aye. Opposed or abstentions? Carries. We move into executive session with no business at 9:34 p.m. Thank you.